Wayward mind, lovesick blind. Why do I climb these heights for you? Twisted muse always gets my shit confused. What's a man have to prove? Do I have to walk the night for you? Every mountain I've climbed, there's a valley low. For every highway I ride.
Welcome, everyone. Armchair Chirpers, episode 56. Thanks, as always, to Small Town Strip Club for bringing us into the show at 5:30, actually 5:31. But we're still good to go here. Just a quick shout-out to the Small Town Strip Club. Their new album dropped February 21st called Through the Noise, and they've had some great gigs as of late. They were headliners at the Horseshoe Tavern in early March. They're going to be out your way, Kelowna and Vancouver at the end of March, so keep that in mind. And on March 22nd, they'll be in Guelph. So we encourage you to follow their social media channels, and that'll give you all the updated information. We also wanted to give a big shout out to our great friends at Reboot Repair, Stratford's best computer support services, personalized IT solutions, hardware, software repairs, on-site and business services. Cam and Dylan will take great care of you at 155 Erie Street in Stratford. Thanks as always, guys.
And you know what? Dylan always gets the love, but today Cam gets the love.
Yeah.
Kudos to Cam for getting us going today.
Cam, thanks so much.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah. Thanks for wearing green. I didn't have one thing in my closet that was green.
I've got some really good-looking green stuff hanging in my closet, which, you know.
Which is still in your closet.
Yeah. But the only thing left.
Okay. Shanker, thanks for the last-minute invite yesterday at the Irish game.
Hey, no problem.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And Razor, as always.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah. Well.
And who's the new guy?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
After a 2-week hiatus.
He's been on 2-week trip travel.
Yeah.
How was it down in Dominican?
We made it work.
Oh, I can imagine.
It was good enough for us.
Unlimited drinks, 30 plus.
Yeah, it was good. You know, for those who know, it's no schedule down there, and we had a really great time. I was so happy to see Janet just relax and decompress, and just good for the soul. Yeah. So yeah, but good to be back. We both love our careers, and it's go time. Back at it.
Absolutely.
Get those lounge chair marks off your back.
That's right. I got to go to the chiropractor. I got lower back problems because of the lounge issues. But
what do they play down there? I've never been to Dominican. I've been to Jamaica.
They play like your steel drums. They'll play like a little half an hour, 45-minute thing of like AC/DC.
Okay.
Christopher Cross.
But they also love I've been down there, and they love the Latino.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and the visitors there especially embrace it. Yeah. Beer's
and
cold.
You can't help yourself. You're just
grooving.
You
feel the rhythm, man.
Just grooving.
Yep, make it work. But like I say, it's good to be back. It's good to be back with you guys. Les is on a little birthday hiatus this week, so I hope you're enjoying your time off, Les. And it all started last Wednesday. We should probably get into, I guess,
start
the
with
elephant in the room, the GOJHL.
Yeah, the playoffs, right? What a weekend. Playoffs.
Holy moly.
Playoffs. So much playoff hockey.
Upsets. Like, there was a little bit of everything going on. And
absolutely there was.
Well, it all started Thursday with the Air losing to Brantford.
Yeah.
Like, what a way to kick off the weekend.
Yeah, they're behind the 8 ball, down 2-0, and then the next 2 games are in Brantford.
Yes, they are. And that first game on Thursday, 19 power plays. Brantford had 9 power plays before the game was half over.
Crazy.
Just, that's what you get with teenagers. They get wound up sometimes, and out of control. And,
Yeah.
You know, I saw them. I was watching the extended highlights, and they dumped the goalie twice. You know, so at the end of the day, what are you doing, guys? You're dumping the goal. I mean, I want to get in his face too, but I mean, one was a 4-minute slew foot penalty, and you know, having said that, they came back. They were down 6-2 after 2, and they made it back to 6-5. And then they took 2 more penalties, and Brantford scored on a 5-on-3 power play and iced the game. And then last night, Ayr has 47 shots, loses 2-1.
Crazy.
And one thing that Razor knows as well as anybody in the playoffs, the goalie can steal a game on any given night. It doesn't matter who you are or who you're playing. The goalie can get the
Is it
game.
Vincente?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on Friday night, it began in earnest on several fronts, including Stratford. And we should probably start with them, I suppose. You were there.
Yeah, I was at that game, man. Oh, man. Like, just the atmosphere was awesome. The boys came out in their new whites with the Indian head on the front, and it just set the stage. The fans were into it. Like, it just changes the energy when they have that Indian head back on the front, and they got a little extra jump in their step, or step in their jump, and like, I was standing there with Pat Schooley, and he was telling me about Zach, and Zach's got a lower body injury, and I don't even know if he should be playing, but my God, that kid was gutting it out, and they were missing Jonas Schmidt, and full credit to LaSalle. Like, they came to play. They started hitting everything right off the top. They made life miserable for Stratford for the first almost 2 periods. And then Stratford, we were all looking at each other going, like, if it wasn't for McDougall, it could have been 3 or 4-0 by the end of the second period. And they ended up getting a goal early. Stratford got a penalty, and LaSalle went on the power play like barely 3 minutes into the game. And this Max Brocklehurst, 16-year-old kid from Halifax, my God, this kid is the real deal.
He's a sweet. He's a beauty.
He's not big,
Nope.
but he's just in on the action. And so then, like, I think it was like 6 seconds into the power play, he was playing the right point and left-hand shot. LaSalle wins the draw, comes back to the D. He passes it over to Brocklehurst, and he used the Stratford player perfectly as a screen. Now, where we were standing, I could see it. One of the guys beside me thought that McDougall had let in a bad goal, and I said, no. Brocklehurst was right at the top of the face-off circle, let a beautiful wrist shot go that McDougall couldn't pick up in time, and it went over his shoulder, his blocker's shoulder. 1-0, 3 minutes into the game. Like, talk about quieting the crowd. Perfect start for LaSalle. Then they were, hitting everything. You had Alex Stewart hitting Stratford guys right in front of the Stratford bench. Like, they wanted to send a message, and they were doing it. And like I said, like, if it wasn't for Doogie made a save in the first period when it was 1-0. Remember that save that Marc-Andre Fleury made to save the Stanley Cup? Pittsburgh was in the wings. It was the first one. Yep. And Nicholas Lidstrom had a chance to tie it up. And Andre Fleury kind of like fell over, and that's exactly what Doogie did. Made a save, the crowd went crazy, and his energy just brought the rest of the team up. I'll be honest right now, Stratford could have easily have lost that game. LaSalle missed a bunch of redirections, where they had empty nets. It was just one of those things, combination of Doogie playing really well, making saves he had no business saving, and LaSalle not capitalizing on their chances. They got to be mad at themselves because they had a chance to steal that game and be up 1-0, and they go on a long ride home, down 1-0, because in the third, Stratford dominated. It was a tale of two teams. They started to get their feet at the end of the second. Then in the third period, you had who was it? It was
Long and Wilson.
Long, the first one.
Yeah. He went down on his off wing, and he got in tight. And Stratford was making Phillips look good. Like every shot that they had was right in the breadbasket. He didn't have to move very much, and Long went in, got in tight, backhanded it over his pad and underneath his glove, 1-1, and then you had who was it? Wilson, I believe.
Aiden Wilson.
Wilson stepped into a clapper there in the late in the second, and it was a great shot. Phillips didn't even see it. He was screened, and he didn't even move. He went down into the butterfly, went over his glove side. He didn't even react to it. He didn't see it. And it was a great shot by Wilson, and so
You don't have to post, I think, anyway.
I don't think it went. It wasn't shelf or anything, but it was definitely top side on his glove, but. Phillips, to his credit, didn't even see it. It was like McDougall, right? McDougall saw it, but he picked it up late. I don't even think Phillips saw it because the way he reacted or his lack of reaction, he just didn't even really move. But
it was a howitzer though too. I mean, he didn't have much time to react.
Exactly.
He couldn't see it, so.
Yeah, and that was at the top of the circle too. It was a howitzer. So. Full marks to Stratford because, like your Lincolns, they probably didn't deserve to win this game. They were getting outplayed for almost 2 periods. It was the goaltending that held them in until the forwards woke up and they were able to manufacture a win. That's the sign of a good hockey team. When you don't deserve to sometimes be in a winning situation and you come out with the win, that shows a lot of character. So kudos to the Stratford Warriors. They didn't play their best game, but they ended up getting the 2 points. And like I said, they can thank McDougall for that because it started off exactly how they didn't want it to go, but it ended exactly the way they were hoping.
I noticed the crowd was not huge. It
Not-
was a little disappointing. I think it was 670 or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it
Announced
wasn't-
crowd, and I'm not sure there was that many there, to be honest with you.
Wasn't very well received. I don't know if people were at home watching NHL Center Ice or the new Netflix that's just come out, but
I don't know. It's,
Yeah,
like I
right.
say, it was a little disappointing in that first game of the playoffs. I get LaSalle's not a traditional opponent,
Right.
But
Rivalry,
to me,
yeah.
I mean, to me though, that's part of what's been cool about the league this year is that teams are playing teams that they never play.
yeah.
And you start new rivalries, and I was a little bit surprised when I saw the size of the crowd.
Yeah, and what they just got it in. I think they had it put in last week. They got a new lighting system underneath the
cool.
clock.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yep.
So kudos to Kevin Smith, director, for coming up with the idea, and he spearheaded it.
Just adds a little ambiance, right?
Oh my God! Especially when they got the lights shut off there in the pre-games, and now it's not quite NHL where you got the logos and all of that.
No, but it's Junior
cool.
B.
It's Junior B.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a small version of being in Alvinston, right? Where
Okay.
minus the fireworks and all of that stuff, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
And the
So-
obnoxious fans.
oh, geez.
Couple things, right?
Yeah, Stratford doesn't have any of those.
If you looked at Stratford was playing at Elmira, there'd be 300-400 people from Elmira. So now that puts the attendance up to 1,000,
Yeah, that's a good-
1,100.
that's a fair point,
Whereas
yeah.
St. Mary's had 1,200.
1,200 in St. Mary's for game one. And
Right.
There weren't many Siskins fans.
No?
There was,
Okay.
those that were there are vocal because they have a good following.
Yes.
There might have been a couple hundred there, but and a few around us where I normally stand. But that was a heck of a hockey game, man. That was a tale of two games
Oh.
for St. Mary's. To be honest with you, they came out flying in the first period. And the guy nobody talks about, Owen Vortman, who got the quietest 60-point season you ever heard of. Nobody talks about Vortman and 27 goals and 60 points because he plays on a line with Lee and Spagnolo. Having said that,
He got the first two, didn't
he
he?
got the first two, yeah, and then, but Waterloo came out and played really physical, and that we knew that was going to happen because that's the way they play. And St. Mary's isn't the biggest team; they don't have a weakness. I mean, they lost 6 games all year, but they're not real big, and so you have to come out and you got to hit them, right? You got to lay the wood to them as often as possible, and that's what they did. They came out and they hit, and there were a couple of turnovers by St. Mary's that I was pretty sure they might have heard footsteps coming because they were finishing their checks all over the place. And, got into the second period, and then the power went out.
You're right.
Which is, and that was the weird thing is that there are some, like Waterloo was really coming. They had just taken a penalty. They were about 12 seconds in to a power play with roughly 7 or 8 minutes left in the second period. And the power goes out in the PRC for about 10 minutes. And I think that helped St. Mary's get through that period. But then they came out in the third and they
shit the bed.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm under orders here, so I didn't want to say that out loud, but they did not come out. And in fact, I got to say, everybody knows how much I love Spagnolo, but that might be the worst period of hockey I've ever seen him play.
Really?
It was 2 bad turnovers in succession that led to the 3-2 goal. And then he turned the puck over a couple more times. He just didn't look like himself.
Yeah.
For about 8 minutes, and then he returned to whatever planet he's from, and Waterloo tied it up, and it was really a nervous Nelly situation for the last 5 minutes. Waterloo had a partial breakaway that Booth Houseco made a similar stop to what you were talking about, that lunging save where he just got to the post just in time to stop it. And then the goal in overtime was one of those greasy garbage goals that you see in overtime. Interesting from my standpoint that Coach Bradley double shifted Lee and Spagnolo. They put him out with Wortman and then double shifted him and put Morey out. And that was when Morey scored the goal. He went in on a rebound and just backhanded it, and I'm not sure if it hit a stick on the way in, but it got through, and they won the game 4-3 in overtime. And boy, howdy, that was a serious stress level game.
Oh my goodness! Like I was looking at the text that you were sending me while I was at the Stratford game, and I'm like looking, going, "Holy moly!" Like KW came out 59 seconds into the third period. Drake Neal makes it 3-2. Then they go on the power play. Like I think.
And it was a bad penalty by Gedney, I think, along the boards there. He didn't get his body in front and get his feet moving, so he hauled the guy down and put him on the power play. So, and then, like I said, having said that, that's what good teams do.
Right.
And you just alluded to that, the fact that they didn't play their best game. The thing that surprised me is that so many people were surprised how good Waterloo was playing. And I'm like, if you follow the league at all, they won 9 of their last 11. They went into the last weekend where they had to win both against Strathroy and Elmira.
Right.
Then not only did they win them both, they only gave up 1 goal in those 2 games. They won a 1-0 shutout against Strathroy and then beat LaSalle, sorry. They beat LaSalle 3-1.
Right.
So in 2 games when they had to absolutely win, they gave up 1 goal all weekend. And then they got the favor done by Listowel in the third period. Strathroy's up 3-0, and Listowel blows up for 6 goals and puts Strathroy out, puts Waterloo in. And Waterloo beat St. Mary's last time they were in Waterloo, 3-2 in a shootout. So, I mean, all the signs were there that this was not a traditional 1-8 matchup. Now, did I still believe St. Mary's was going to win in a short series? I believe I predicted them in 5. That Waterloo would certainly win 1, but at no point did I ever think there were going to be 6-1 hockey games for sure. So a lot of people were surprised, but Waterloo's for real, man. Waterloo is in a situation where they're playing really, really well defensively.
And such great points there, Holly. And I think we need to revisit kind of the show that you had Dylan Baker on and the preview for the playoffs. This league's good. I don't think there's any sleeper teams in there that you can really say to yourself, we can, take the night off. And I think that, there's no question that St. Mary's is going to be able to handle KW, but there could be some suggestions that they won't have any fun doing it, because of their compete.
Is that another example?
100%.
Last night in Waterloo, when they were down 2-1 after 2 periods, they got outshot 18-11 in the second period and gave up 2 goals. And they were on the ropes. And then Waterloo did what Waterloo does quite often. They took a couple of dumb penalties. They were on a power play. And their captain, Oliver, who is a good player and a good kid, but every once in a while does teenager things, and hit a guy from behind. And lucky that he only got a boarding penalty, and that killed a power play. And then when they St. Mary's tied it up on a goal from, help me out here, who's that scored that second one?
Last night,
That was
Lincoln Moore.
Lincoln Moore, who is a guy that is made for the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
He's like 6'2" and 220, and he plays even bigger when the game is hard. And so he was on the ice, and then they took Klein took a spearing penalty in center ice.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're the best player on the team.
Yeah.
And he really is. He's one of my favorites in the league. He may not be a top 3 player, but he's certainly a top 10 player in this league.
I don't think it's anything like you want to hit the panic button just yet, but in the third period of game 1, KW outshot St. Mary's 17-5. Mm-hmm. And then I was looking at the notes from yesterday. In the second period, they outshot them 18-11. How important is it for Booth Housego to play fantastic in game 1, save their bacon in the third period when the tide had shifted to KW, and then we had talked about it there on the playoff preview. Like I was saying on our group chats, I'd ride Booth Housego. You guys know more than I do, and they go to Armchair, and he turns in a gem.
Yeah, he was really
And
razor
so-
sharp last night.
Yeah, like he stopped 31 of 33. Like, man, what a luxury to have. You've got 2 grade A goalies. Most teams would kill for, one.
Either one of them,
and they've got the luxury of having 2 of them. And it looks like, Chartron didn't play that great in game 1 for KW. He only stopped 29 of 33, but
Well, that was the difference. I mean, Booth Housego outplayed Chartrand, and that's why they won game 1.
Yeah,
Well, especially with back-to-back now, right?
exactly.
And I don't know why the schedule is so get the series over and done with so quick when everybody else has played 2 games in 6 days, or now you have Waterloo and St. Mary's playing 3 games in 4 days. It's crazy.
Like I would prefer to do that because if they win 4 straight, now you've got time to rest and nurse some injuries and stuff. Yeah. While, you look at, because I think what was Les and Dylan saying, it was like 3 weeks now because they don't have the double round robin, so they're able to stretch out these series.
Yeah, I have no idea why they're doing that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why are you? Anyway, I'm not on the league board, and I don't care at the end of the day. But I'm all for playing them, getting them in. It's sometimes you're limited to whatever ice time is available. Apparently, LaSalle claims that they couldn't find any ice on the weekend.
Right.
Well, I think we all know that LaSalle's regular home night is Wednesday, and so and you don't blame them for that.
That tells you everything you need to know about where they are in the pecking order to be able to host a home game.
Right.
Wednesday night.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I tell you what, as good as Stratford's attendance is regularly, you can see a marked difference between Friday night home games and Tuesday night home games.
Oh, for sure.
I've seen it for years.
For sure.
I have seen, I remember 3 or 4 years ago, Brantford came in for the first round. Game 1 was the Friday, game 2 on the weekend, game 3 in Stratford on a Tuesday night, and there was 12 people there. It was a horrible crowd. I've seen bigger crowds for minor hockey games.
Right.
Yeah.
And, because the kids don't come because they got school in the morning. Yeah. And a lot of people don't go out midweek. So it's just basically all your hardcore fans. And now 12 is like I think it was about 300. So for game 3 of a playoff game, 300 people in Stratford is
nothing.
Geez, man, that's an empty building.
Yeah.
LaSalle has the Sunday afternoon games, but they got to compete with the Spitfires.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're not winning there either.
No.
Right. So they both play out of the same rink, do they?
No.
No, LaSalle plays in LaSalle.
LaSalle.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're
you're just talking about the Spits play on Sundays.
People would rather go see the Spits
Fair.
than
competition.
Okay, fair.
Same thing that the Nationals have. They can't go against the Knights, right?
Right.
Anyway, game 2, Hodkinson shows up and scores the power play goal, and Armelin is fantastic, and they win 3-2. And I think that there's 2 ways to take that. Number one is that St. Mary's is having all of this trouble with an 8 spot. And, I went up to Listowel last night and watched that, and we'll get into that in a minute. But if you think Waterloo's tough, wait till you see London, who can do all the things physically that Waterloo can do, but has a better goalie in Wexstrom and has more high-end talent and skates better.
Right.
So it's just going to get harder. And that was the only thing that I noticed, knowing the league like I do with St. Mary's, the draw that St. Mary's has, as good as they are and as favored as they are, it's a tough physical matchup in round one. And it doesn't matter, barring an upset in the league, which is we're looking less and less likely as the playoffs progress. It's the winner of Listowel and London. And that's going to be a tough physical series too. Because St. Mary's and London just played a really tough 7-game series last year for the Western Conference Championship. And then St. Mary's played a tough 5-game series that turned nasty on occasion, including the 2 games in the round robin. So they played 7 games against Listowel after they played 7 games against London. And I could tell you, it doesn't matter which one you get, you ain't going to like it. You know what I mean? And then if everything goes according to Hoyle, with all due respect to the Warriors, and I would like to see Stratford and St. Mary's, but there's Chatham next, who are probably the biggest team in the West, who also play physical.
And they only scored, 9 goals last night?
Yeah.
Like, they lit it up.
Chatham sent a message to everybody who thought Elmira was going to give them a real go, because
I wasn't here last week, but I'm not discounting Elmira and the program there, but Chatham, to me, and we've talked about this since before Christmas.
Yeah.
And not to interrupt your
good.
on here, Holly, but Chatham's going to be at the end.
Yeah,
Whoever else
they're
is there.
dangerous.
Now, what I will say
They're
about
very
St.
dangerous.
Mary's is their role in the playoffs compared this year to last year is completely different. And what I mean by that is they're the kingpin this year.
Yes.
It's a completely different role. It's their opportunity. I won't say championship. I'll say it's their opportunity to lose. So the stakes are different. The thought processes are different. The thing that I like is they have great elite coaching in this league.
they sure do.
We've talked about the usual suspects there, but they're gonna have to figure out the thresholds. They're gonna have to understand that KW isn't gonna go down without a fight. And it's like we haven't even talked about the Brantford Air series. Like it's a whole different thing too.
This is why this new alignment is so good.
Yeah.
Because
You
before
gotta believe the Go is going, man, we should have done this 5 years ago.
Right.
Well, don't say that to Jason Clark because
but
he
like-
said
Yeah,
it
'cause he's been
years
begging for it.
ago.
Right, but
Years
you've
ago.
got to tier 2 or provincial junior A, whatever they call it now, has to be looking at the Go, going, okay, we've got to model this because everyone is paying
they're
attention.
either going to say that or they're going to say we don't have a product here.
Yeah.
like respectfully.
Yeah.
Because
With the
it's
way
not
they've
the
opened,
same,
well,
right?
because the way they've opened up now,
Right.
the NCAA Scullies and stuff,
Right.
That's a game changer.
Right.
The BCHL people aren't looking to go out there like they were,
Well,
for
I'm going to
many
give
years.
you an example, and one of which, and I don't think they'll mind me kind of explaining a bit of the story, but with Cole Lewis, the captain of the Warriors, good friends with Rob. A lot of us know him. He had the conversation in the off season. Cole was kind of thinking he wanted to go out west and get some life experience and all the stuff, the great stuff and the experience that comes with going out to the BCHL. His dad just kind of gave him, kind of reeled him in a bit and said, look, you're gonna be the captain. It's your hometown. You're 20 years old. It's your last year. What happens if you go out there and you don't necessarily get along with a coach or your third line or whatever the situation could be? Now, that's worst case scenario. But Cole's a smart kid, and obviously has a lot of respect for what his dad has input in. But the Go is it's getting back to
It really is.
really, really important. For you to be in this league, it's a big deal. Like for what the product is.
Yeah.
The elite players don't stay, and that's fine. But there's some really good players, really good teams in this league, and it's just all healthy.
Yeah, like it's exciting. Like before we jump into the other ones, I want to mention 2 things. Like kudos to St. Mary's. You're down 3-2 going into the third, or was it? No, they were up.
In game 2, they
In
were
game-
down 2-1.
down to
And yeah, they're down 2-1 going into the third period, and they just found a way to come back and get the business done. Also, I wanted to mention huge back-checking effort Friday at the Almond by Heath Bogart. Dude, that was an all-world play. Reed Hayes, who's an AP player for LaSalle, was on a semi-breakaway when Stratford's nursing a 2-1 lead. And Bogart chased him down, and the kid, obviously the kid hasn't been in too many situations like that, being an AP player. But Bogart hunted him down. The kid had a couple of strides on him, and Bogart got on him. And right before the kid was going to take a shot, got his stick on the puck, and the kid didn't even get a shot off. I wanted to give a huge shout out to that, because if that goal goes, huge moment. So you couple that with, and then Doogie made a great game-saving save on a one-timer by Brocklehurst. Again, he kicked out his left pad, something like Polidoro last night. Oh my God, for the Irish. Polidori, yeah. And but Doogie made a great left pad save when he was knocking right on the door. So those two plays preserved their win. They didn't have to go to overtime. So huge shout out to both the Lincolns and the Warriors.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that the one thing that you guys mentioned too in the preview is that you were saying too with your goalie observations that you have, Razor. You were saying that Doogie's going to have those games. And
he does,
and it sounds like he did. He made some pivotal saves, and you know what? Those are the saves that allow the play to go the other way and create opportunities the other way. So
it's such a huge boost. Like, even though LaSalle missed a couple of opportunities, like I said, on redirections with empty cages staring at him, like great plays where a guy would pretend he's going to shoot it, but really he's looking back door, and all the guy had to, at least twice, all the guy had to do was redirect it into the open net, and they fanned or missed on it, and I'm sure the D played it, but you need those breaks. So you couple those breaks with great goaltending, great back checking. They just manufactured a win when they didn't have their best stuff on opening night.
But good teams find ways to win.
They do.
You see it all the time.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is having that goaltender. In Stratford's case specifically, so many rookies, so many young guys, they need time to get their feet wet. Last year, in previous years, Stratford has benefited from weak opponents. And I really believe that this is a best case scenario opponent for LaSalle. A little known fact, because I do on occasion deep dive the stats, Stratford and LaSalle are the two lowest remaining teams at scoring road goals in the league.
Oh, really?
That is digging. Wow.
Out of the 16 teams that are left, Stratford and LaSalle were the last two at scoring road goals.
Road production.
Yes.
Okay.
And so that is, and that was case in point there in game one, where a lot of teams, you think about Chatham's up 4-0.
Right.
Because they don't miss those.
They don't care.
But LaSalle doesn't have that kind of depth. And what that does now for Stratford is it buys their young players time to get their feet wet, to get over the holy crap, I'm in playoffs, to get used to what will be larger crowds. I'm thinking about guys like Slattery and Green and Marshall and Kipfer, guys like, and a lot more than that. But those are guys, and Lewis and Schooley can talk till they're blue in the face about what it's like, what it's like. But eventually, you got to get out there and you got to get punched in the face, and you got to get knocked on your keister, and you just got to get back up. And sooner or later, that puck's going to be rung around the boards, and you're going to hear some 220-pound gorilla coming down your back, and you got to get the puck out. Yeah. And that's what is so important about a win like Stratford's on Friday night, is it buys them time for their kids to get used to the playoffs. Like I said, this is a perfect opportunity for them to get by LaSalle and then move on to somebody that's going to be extremely more difficult.
And Razor, it sounds really interesting that you gave the description of how LaSalle came out and took out the crowd, and you'd have to think that was a big game plan for them with all the rookies on Stratford. And you've heard Clarkey with him being on the visitors bench from years ago when he was with Listowel with Willie, and they'd come in here, and they knew too, if you can take that crowd out of it, they get heavy on their own players, and all of a sudden it's tense, and then all of a sudden the players start holding on to their stick a little tighter. And good perseverance by Stratford with how young they are, with the 14 rookies that we're talking about. Like, it's incredible to think that this team, is going to challenge, as far as they go is up to them. but they're going to compete. And you know what? They really persevered in a game where, like you said, they didn't find their game plan till 3/4 of the way through the second period.
Yeah.
So good on them. Keep her going, boys.
Yeah. It was they're a fun team to watch, and I hope Jonas can be back soon because he's a huge miss for them. Like he's irreplaceable. Like
Yes.
it was great.
They need goals.
Yeah, they do. They do. Like Doogie can only do so much, right? Like you don't want to have to rely on him to do that night in and night out. But
Yeah, like I said, I mean, and Clarkie was here last week telling us all about how much trouble they had in LaSalle's barn, whether it's the team or
The trip
the
down,
barn, or
whatever.
the trip, or
Yeah.
a combination therein. So,
Do you know what
anyways,
I like though about Clarkie's approach with that is he acknowledges that, but he's the first guy to say you got to find a way.
Yep.
You got to
That's what the
figure it
playoffs
out
is all
because if
about,
you
right?
don't, you'll be watching on Sporfy.
So the
Right.
last series in the West started last night up in Listowel, and I made the drive up, and I'm glad I did because I saw two hockey teams that I don't generally like, because they're always playing my team, no matter who that is, and they're both just really tough teams to play with, Listowel and London. The game scheduled to start for 7:30. I don't think anybody told Listowel. I think Listowel thought the game started at 8 because 5 minutes into the game and London's up 3-0, and they were all just passes across the crease onto wide open guys, and so after one period, Listowel's down 4 goose, gave up 2 5-on-3 opportunities for London, and just looked completely out of sorts. And the thing that surprised me is that, and I hope I say his name right, Kowatz. the
Kowatz?
goaltender,
Yeah.
He started last night, and I was really surprised by that for a couple of reasons. Number one, I mean, Arts played at least twice as many games in the season as Kowatz did. Plus the fact that last year Arts was here when Grimes carried this team all the way to a Southie. That was Arts. Keeping in mind, Arts won an award for goaltending excellence from the regular season. And just like Colby Booth Houseco with St. Mary's, had a great regular season and did not get a sniff in the playoffs.
Wow.
And Grimes played the entire playoffs, as did Brendan Abbott for St. Mary's. So I was absolutely shocked. And I was thinking about that when we had the discussion about St. Mary's, how they were going to do their goaltending. I'm thinking, you can't have a guy have 2 consecutive stellar regular seasons. In fact, Colby Booth Houseco won his first team All-Star goaltender for the West Division. And you just can't have him sit on the bench and play
Right.
Armelin. But Armelin's got the best numbers, and you can't sit him either. That's the good problem.
Yeah.
So anyway, at 4-0 at the end of the first, and sure enough, here comes Arts out for the second period, and he makes a couple of big saves and slows them down. Listowel scores, makes it 4-1, and now they got their feet going. They got a little mojo. Another disappointing playoff crowd in Listowel, less than half full.
Really?
Oh, dear.
Wow.
Well, I mean, we were up there for game 1 of the Southie final, and that place wasn't even close
You
to
and
full.
Les
so-
went up there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, I know they fill it up for Stratford, but I think that's as much to do with Stratford as it is. for-
Right. That
as
tells
it
you
is
how
for
many
Listowel.
Stratford fans make
Well,
the trip.
I would probably say, without exaggeration, 100 to 150. Like, would add that on
Easy.
the Stratford.
Easy.
Maybe 200.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, so it was 4-1 after 2, and London scores early in the third, and then it's 5-1 now, and I'm expecting the idiocy to start now at 5-1, but instead, London is the one that's taking the penalties. They had 2 5-on-3s. Next thing you know, it's 5-2. Now it's 5-3, and then another 5-on-3 power play. Boom! It's 5-4.
Wow.
And Listowel's right back in it, and then they just couldn't get it done, and then naturally somebody from Listowel took a penalty late in the game, and
Sure.
and
Yeah.
London scores a late power play and ices it at 6-4 and with an empty netter, and that was the end of that. So
There were 6 different London goal scorers, and Listowel was only 3 for 9 on the power play. Is where
3
London
for 9.
Yeah.
3 for 9.
Say that a couple
yeah,
times.
Right.
Well, like I said,
9 opportunities.
Yeah.
like that's
Wow.
it's the thing that I was really disappointed with in the refereeing, and I'm not a referee basher. But Les ain't here, so I'll take his place. And I won't bother using his name. I'm not going to call him out, on the pod. But twice Listowel was down 5-on-4, and there were those cross checks that you see 50 of every game that nobody ever calls. He's called both of them. Both when they're already down 5-4 and put Listowel down 5-3, and I'm thinking, and both as the official out at center ice. Like, are you bored? Is that what's
Yeah,
going on
right.
here?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? I don't think we need to revert back to the way it was when we were young, when if you were down 5-on-4, you could break your stick over a guy's head and not get a second
Right.
penalty. So there's got to be a balance there, but you can't just throw marginal calls out there on a team that's down in playoffs. I just don't think I don't think that's a good feel for the game.
You've commented before on that too, Holly, and I think it's a fair assessment of what you see. The amount of hockey games that you watch in this league, you know, you have a fair assessment of what's going on. I don't think that you're saying anything unreasonable, because it's to do with the quality of the product that's on the ice. They have a ton of momentum. Like, let's keep it going in a positive way, right?
So yeah, it was a good game. And I knew it was a usual game because I missed the 50-50 by like 2 nights. This game.
Sure you did.
The curse continues. So yeah, that was good. So now the East is producing a lot of drama as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, do we want to talk about Chatham before we head over to the East? Chatham,
well, like I said, I mean, Chatham sent a message last night.
I'm impressed. Like, they went 50% on the power play, 4 for 8. That's impressive.
That's a lot of penalties in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, Elmira thought they could rough them up, and they outshot Elmira 41-32, and but neither goalie played very well. Like, neither Hunter or Gibbons played very well.
Do you know what, though? Razor, what I will say about that, and again, I don't know a whole lot about the series, but what I do know is, and you mentioned it in the preview for the playoffs about Chatham, you want to play run and gun, you want to score 6, we'll score 7. You want to score 8, we'll score like. And I'm not saying it's going to be like that every game, but the capability of Chatham is there. And Elmira, I don't know, they've got their hands full.
Well, fun fact about that 9-5 is that Elmira scored 5 goals, and both Delacroce and Martin were pointless.
I know. I was looking that up, and I was shocked that the 2 top scorers in the league weren't in on any of the 5 goals.
So the 5 goals, I wouldn't be too hard on the goaltender because it was 7-2 at one point, and you could see that Chatham. You could sort of see on the score sheet where they kind of backed off. They were blowing them out.
Right.
And you know, I don't know if that's going to continue or not. But if you're going to give Chatham 8 power plays, and everybody scored. They've got so many good players. They got Long and LaChance, and they've got
Campbell had 2,
Hunt and Campbell and Richter.
Gillen had 3 assists.
They all scored.
Well, and to think you got 9 goals and your 2 top weren't in it, you're doing all right. Like, the depth is there, right?
Well, we meant Elmira's top 2 guys in the 5 goals,
They
but
were the 2 leaders in the league in scoring.
on a 7th place team. They had the 2 top scorers in the go.
Wow.
And
get
neither
5
one of them were in on any of the
My
5
apologies, I
goals.
misunderstood.
Yeah. So, but no, all the big guns scored for Chatham.
Chatham, they
You go
showed
down the
up.
list, like I said, Hunt and LaChance and Richter, they all scored.
Yeah, they were all in on it. So they're Chatham's up 1-0. They go into Elmira
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow, okay.
Yeah, I was seriously considering driving up for that. To be honest with you. I love the rink. I love Elmira's rink.
Elmira?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Snyder, is that?
Dan Snyder.
Dan Snyder.
Yeah.
There are no bad sight lines anywhere.
Nice.
Well, Les and I used to go stand up above the net it was almost like a walkway or a track.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my
Right
gosh.
at the front there,
So
yeah.
much fun. That was when Ryan McDonald played for the Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody remind
Back
me
in
the
the day.
goalie who kept knocking the net off. What was his name?
Oh.
Reinhardt. Was it Reinhardt? I think it was.
For Elmira.
Yeah, he played for Elmira.
Yeah. Reinhardt, and he pissed off every fan base in the league because he'd knocked the net off.
When they had the old magnets.
Yep.
And he'd do that and then act like a lost tourist. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just sliding across, just hugging the post, right? Just hugging the post. So. Everybody used to get mad. And the other fun fact about Snyder is that I don't have empirical evidence to back this up, but I do know that it was the first time I ever walked into a non-NHL hockey rink and saw someone drinking a beer. And I just went, wow, they can drink beer here. And
Right.
why can't we have this in Stratford?
That happened to me in St. Mary's. We went out the one year and they were having a beer. I'm like, did he bring that in? Or like, do they know that he has it?
And not only did St. Mary's sell the beer, but they allow you to bring it out to the seat as well, which was something that Stratford wasn't doing
Right,
at one
it was
point.
a blue
and
line.
even in Waterloo, when I saw they started doing it, still there was only that 1/4
Segregated,
of the stands.
area.
You were a
Yeah.
segregated area. Tavistock did it as well.
Tavistock had the blue line. That was a lot of fun.
Stratford
Mitchell
was-
had it.
Yep, Stratford was one of the last ones to finally get it.
Yeah, they were. Well,
Thanks for living in the now, Stratford.
Stratford they flirted with the idea of doing it because everybody else started doing it.
Actually, they never did it until Razor retired. Coincidence?
Well, I said to them, you guys are missing the boat. No, true story.
We just
So
didn't think we'd sell any beer until Razor quit.
Roger Moorhead was getting flack from seasons ticket holders. So when they would have the bar there in the upper lounge, people could go and get the drinks. Well, some guys were getting boisterous, standing down. So you had the bar down where the Irish have it, where families sit. Now they have it down where the Zamboni comes out, where there's less families sitting, and there's more hooligans. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
But,
you and Pat Schooley.
Yeah, Greg Barkley.
Louis, don't forget Louis.
Louis down there.
Yeah, Robbie
Andy
Lou.
was Eric Anderson was down. It was good to see a lot of people because I haven't been to many Junior B games just because we're there Saturday nights. So unlike Halser, I do like to watch NHL and other things on my weekends. But man, was it fun? It was good.
Last.
It was really good to be down at the Allman.
It's good. And,
Playoff atmosphere.
I
Well, that
mean,
was 4 games I saw in this weekend. From Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, I saw 4 hockey games.
Yeah.
In
and
the
I think
bar.
there's something to be said too, like, kind of in the all of our age bracket is where like the players are really familiar. Like we know the dads and the moms,
Yeah.
and the families.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I really like that. Like when Robbie Lou comes in for a haircut, like it's just a blast.
Yeah.
Just to have a chat.
Yeah.
He gives me a couple of insider things that don't leave the chair, but just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of encouragement. I love seeing, buddies and families that I know and their kids are playing and, having the time of their lives. Like it's really cool. It's
Yeah.
really good stuff.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's always nice to talk to the locals, like standing there with Scrooge and Rossi Snyder and
Yep.
a bunch of other guys. It's just good energy,
Yeah.
being there. I'm standing beside Daryl Green's. Is it Daryl? No, Green's
Aaron's-
father.
Aaron Green's
Aaron
dad.
Green's
It's
dad.
Daryl. It is
Yeah.
Daryl, I think.
Well, he was telling me a funny story because he said that I said, "Are you the Daryl Green that played for the Cullitons?" And he goes, "No, that's my other brother, Daryl." And I said, "That's awesome." But no, he said, I've been asked a few times if I was the Daryl Green that played for the Cullitons, and
And it's not.
it's not.
Oh, okay.
No,
Because
no, he did.
Daryl Green, he's my age, and I don't think he'd quite have kids.
Yeah, I think he said he
eligible for
married.
Junior
Was
B.
it Tara Troxel?
Tara, yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Tara Troxel, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Great guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
good guy. So he was standing with
I've
us.
known Aaron through baseball for a few years now. All those 07 Slattery and
Right. Yeah.
Petrie.
Yeah.
What's up?
Going back to the Chatham, I see Hunter played last night, not DeBlassie.
Right, de Blasio
Yeah.
just got back from Saginaw.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Like I was
Days?
wondering that a couple weeks ago, because DeBlassie got called up, he kept playing, backing up Saginaw. I thought, wow, this is going to hurt Chatham in the long run. I thought.
Well, Hunter seems to be the guy they like. I mean, de Blasio's going to be the
DeBlassie's
finished
like
product.
the
I think-
luxury.
I think
Yes.
the finished product, de Blasio's going to be the better goalie, but I think right now they like Hunter.
Right. Yeah. You were saying that right from Christmas because like you were telling me like when I had said that they've got this NHL rated goalie, and you were just saying how Hunter
Pull that again, you're out. All right.
how Hunter Hunter was actually their number one guy,
jumped out.
even though de Blasi wasn't the one that started game one, but
De Blasi played in Stratford last time they were in on a Friday night, and played well. And
Yeah,
Chatham came
yes.
away with a
The 3-2
tight
win.
3-2 win.
Yeah.
Which I thought the score kind of flattered Stratford a little bit. They got a late goal there, but anyways, yeah, I think Hunter's going to be the guy until he decides he's not the guy, or maybe they'll switch if they keep scoring 9 goals a game. I mean, you can come out of retirement and have win for this team, Razor, to be honest with you. So
Yeah.
Anyway, we should probably cover a little bit of the East. before
Yeah,
we
let's
move
get
on.
into the East. What's going on there with St. Catharines and Hamilton? They were tied
shocker.
squared up at 1-1.
Absolute shocker. And I talked about them last week as maybe the most uninteresting junior hockey team I've ever experienced. and I don't want to insult them, but it's just true. They don't have a top 15 goaltender. In 50 games, they don't have
This
a
is
20 goal.
Hamilton?
Yeah, they
Okay.
don't have a 20 goal scorer. They don't have a 40-point scorer. So they got nobody that stands out. They're very, very young. All right. They don't have any per se flaws. They just don't have anybody that you go, watch out for
Well,
this
like
guy.
no sexiness
You
or
know
no
what I mean?
appeal.
No, it's like
or,
just like I said,
Yeah.
they are.
Avery Elves heard you talking because Saturday
Did
night.
he ever play good Saturday night?
Right.
Holy mackerel!
Yeah,
I saw
stopped
the
40 of 41 shots.
Yeah, and like I said, they won 3-1, but clearly it was a situation. If you go to the 519 highlights. There's about 7 minutes of Al's absolutely standing on his head. It was
Crazy.
so fun to watch this kid play. St. Catharines is still St. Catharines. I mean, they won 8-2 in the first game. This
Yeah.
kid Duplessis that I keep touting as little mini Lindros, 6'2", 235 or whatever he's listed at. And
Yeah.
he's all of it. And but they're huge. Their goaltender's even bigger than he is. And I'm drawing a blank on his name because I'm old. But I'm not worried about St. Catharines at all. I took them in a sweep. I'm shocked that Hamilton won a game. But that's what happens when it's playoffs and they're teenagers, right? So we'll see what happens. I think they play Thursday next in their next game.
I'm not sure
Tomorrow
when.
night.
Tomorrow night they play. Okay, so fair enough.
Yeah, Cam Lowe had 4 assists Friday night for St. Catharines, and then Gates and Duar both had 2 goals. Johnny Brooks had 2 goals for Hamilton. He had both their goals for Hamilton on Friday night.
Yeah, I think there was an empty netter there.
Could
Anyways.
very well be.
Anyway, it was like I said. It was the Alvis show.
Yeah, on
know.
Saturday.
And it was good on him. You know what I mean? Like we just talked
Yeah.
about that a few minutes ago. Every once in a while, you run into a hot goalie and he steals a game.
He
Can
hides a
steal-
lot of flaws.
Can he steal a series? I think that's highly unlikely, but that's why they play the games on ice instead of paper.
100.
So.
So tell us what's going on with Air down 2-0 to Brantford.
Well, I mean, Air showed up. All their meatheads showed up. And there's no nice way to say it, really. When you give another team 9 power plays in the first half of a game, when you dump the goalie twice, just skating by, slew-footing him like it's something out of Slapshot.
Yeah.
And that was a 4-minute slew-footing penalty. I
Ordeal.
can't recall the last time I saw somebody actually specifically called for
Right.
slew-footing.
Yeah.
Usually they just call it tripping, right? But I mean, you're skating, and it wasn't like he was out of the net trying to play the puck, and he went around beside the net and just took his feet
Just caught
out.
the
And it's
leg.
he hooked the leg, Johnny.
You just lose any momentum
So, I
that
mean-
you may have at that
Oh,
point.
And they started off they took a penalty early, but then they scored a shorty when they were in the box. They're up 1-0 with a shorty. Off you go. And, Brantford is not a team that scores a lot. They've got 2 guys, Sabo and Cristostomo, who were both top 20 scorers, both top 3 shorthanded goals. And they're fantastic players, but they're a little bit like they're the East version of Elmira, except they don't have an Evely on defense.
Right.
Zabo has 3 and 2, 3 goals in 2 games so far. He's having
Right.
a good
Yeah,
series.
he tied
Yeah.
it Sunday last
and
night.
then
He
also,
tied
yeah.
it with 53 seconds to go
last
in the
minute of
game.
It was
yeah.
a 1-0 hockey game last night, and Air shot 47 times at Brantford's goalie.
Yeah, Vincente
who just another one who stole a game for them
stole
last
it.
night. So,
But then Sabo ties it with 53 seconds to go in the third. Then he wins it in overtime. That's his third of the series.
right, and so that's when you just get preachy and you say, listen, if you didn't act like meatheads in game 1, you'd have won the game, and now that they come and steal one from you, it's 1-1 and you're fine. But now you're down 2. The next 2 are on the road,
Yeah.
which is not as much of an effect as it is, say, in the NHL. But still, you're on the road. Last change for Brantford. Those are important factors.
Right.
And even if you go in there and get a split, you're still down 3-1.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. Brantford's defenseman, Patrick Babin, leads
4 points in game 1. He had 4 points.
Yeah, he's got 5 assists, leading the playoffs in scoring. So he's
And why? Because they've had because they had 13 power plays.
Oh.
And he quarterbacks the power play.
And I know that you're a big advocate of this, and it's a respect level for the league, but I think that it comes back full circle to your comments and thoughts about the fact that these are teenagers, right? And maybe sometimes they're not quite, the coaching staff can only prep them so far. They have their, players only meetings, stuff like that before the playoffs. Let the veterans lead the way. All the good stuff and good feels, warm and fuzzies to start the playoffs off. But, you get into the situations that we've seen with Air that have completely cost them 2 games. Now they're down 2-0. I'm not about excuses, but those could be some of the ebbs and flows when you're talking about 9 power play opportunities in a game in the first half of the game.
Yeah.
So
That's problematic, right?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they have the luxury of going over game tape now in the preparation, progress of that. So hopefully they can turn it around. I'm a big fan of the Air.
and don't be
program.
surprised if they do, because they're really good on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like in a 7-game series, when you flip-flop home game with home game, you don't mind being down 2-0. But when you lose your first 2 games at home, now you have 3 road games, and you only have 2 home games left. Your back's against the wall pretty quick here.
So are the next 3 in Brantford?
I don't know. I haven't looked that close at the schedule.
But the first 2 were in Air.
The first 2 were
See, I
definitely
didn't
in
know
Air.
that.
Yeah.
Something about ice time. Now, the other thing about Brantford.
Next 2 are in Brantford.
It's
Okay.
It's not a St. Mary's. It's not a Stratford. They're not going to draw 700, 800, 900 people
Right.
to those
Yeah,
games.
that's not gonna make
what
that
I mean?
difference.
It's going to be kind of like LaSalle, where they're just not going to draw that many people, and so it's not like it's so loud in there. You just you get impressed or anything like that. St. Mary's, that overtime goal, as much as Spencer Seymour, the radio guy for St. Mary's, screams out at the top of his lungs. You could barely hear him on the call. when
Right,
they scored.
yeah.
That was 1,200 people
Yeah,
going
but
crazy.
like
That's
that-
not going to be the case in Brantford.
We weren't, we were at that game with Chess there the one night
Yep.
a little while ago when Stratford was there. And I know that some Stratford fans traveled, but it wasn't quite full. I would probably say there was just under 1,000 there. And just even when it's not full, there's just this atmospheric buzz that's created by the fans, by the players, by, you're looking at the Stratford players on the visiting rink, and, Razor and I are looking at Jonas Schmidt. We're looking at Cole. Cole was beside us.
Yeah, Cole
he
was
was
hurt.
sitting out.
Yeah.
But you're looking at these players, and they know they're in an environment that's hostile.
Yes.
respectfly
Yep.
hostile.
That's the good kind of hostel.
But it-
not
but
the
it's-
literally
yeah.
a garbage can.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
No,
But-
that's right.
But and I think that every junior player should be able to experience that. And when you talk about the LaSalles and the different opportunities of the teams that we're talking about that don't draw, it's such a shame. So hopefully there's continuing to be good news and progress with this league.
And to your point, this is why so many people want a Stratford St. Mary's 3rd-round matchup.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have 202,000 people in the barn in 7 games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it's
would
gonna
like
be,
a Taylor
be-
Swift concert, right?
It'll be electric.
well, it'll be entertaining.
Well, I'm just saying that I've been approached
Touche.
by a few people if I can get them tickets, and I said, why? Any tickets that I get for the Warriors Lincolns, I'm going to put them on StubHub. They'll go for like 1,500.
Oh, yeah.
So
Like we were talking to Brock Chessel about that night. Are you talking about the Leaf game? No, the Lincolns game, and he just gave you the biggest.
yeah, I
Whatever.
said to him, yeah, this is going to be standing room only tonight. Really? Yeah. And I said, yeah, I got him off of StubHub. I had to pay $1,000 tonight.
He gave you the biggest eye roll. I'm like,
Well, he didn't know
Brock.
my humor,
No.
right? And he's just like looking at me.
I
like-
thought it was hilarious.
He's going, Dad, like he didn't say it, but he's looking at it. Dad, who is this joker?
Well, we were in, quote unquote enemy territory with
Right.
Brockster or Redster coming up the
Red,
stairs.
yeah.
6'2" Lincolns and not even a hello.
No,
Yep,
no.
he is the super fan. Man.
Oh
Absolutely
yeah,
he is.
yeah. He's locked and
And
loaded.
if you think the horn blows way too much in that rink, now you know why.
Yeah.
I remember even I said to him, I said, you could lay off that horn a little bit if you wanted. Because when the Lincolns come out at the start of
Oh,
the game,
yeah.
he lays on that horn
yeah,
until everybody's on the ice.
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
20 players
Yeah.
waiting for the training staff.
That's
You know what I mean?
amazing.
I love it.
And
Do you know
I
what,
like,
though?
you could
I
lay
love
off it a little bit, couldn't you? Nope.
Yeah,
That was
we,
it. That's all I got.
you
Nope.
don't have to guess what he's thinking because
No.
he'll just tell you.
Oh, yeah.
No.
We stood beside him last year in the Southern Cup, and he's like, "Oh, you gotta move over." I'm like, you got enough room, and he has his certain spot
Yeah.
where you can just turn around and just slam that button.
Yeah.
He's
loves
got
it.
seniority on
Oh,
you.
yeah.
I
So
love
do
it.
what he says.
I love
He's
it.
great.
You damn well listen to him.
Yeah,
too,
exactly.
Shanker.
Move over.
That's
so
right.
cool to see a guy with that much passion.
Oh,
for the
Well,
yeah.
and to be of the younger generation where, you know what, he's right dialed in, and you see like just every little detail, like crowd predictions for the game tonight.
Yep.
You'll have 25, 30, 40 people chiming in to make a guess, and that just makes it fun.
It
Yeah.
does,
The
absolutely.
camaraderie
Yep.
is completely amazing, and he creates a lot of that online himself.
Well, especially like in his generation, they've got so much technology that he could be watching Netflix. He could be watching the NHL Center Ice package,
gaming.
whatever, right?
which is
Playing
what
Call of
Anything,
Duty.
100%.
Most guys
And-
his
and-
age are home gaming.
And what
this
does he want to
guy's
do? He wants to go with his dad to
Yeah.
Lincoln's
And
game on a
not-
Friday
and not
night.
to
I love
Lincoln's
it.
home games.
Away
to
games.
all Lincoln's
That's
games. I'm
amazing.
not sure he missed 3 games. This
Really?
year, to be
Well,
honest with you.
yeah.
He went to
Wow.
LaSalle. He went to Chatham.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
And
I
you know what I
didn't know
love
that.
though too is Chris is right on board like Chess.
Yeah,
He's
he loves it.
Chester
he'll-
loves
he'll
them
be
like
in-
you do. Yeah.
He'll be in, on a weekday, and he'd be like, "Yeah, we're off to London tomorrow night." And I'm like, "Oh, what's up? Oh, Lincoln's game
Oh,
there
yeah.
in London.
Like, especially-
Perfect.
Yeah.
And
That's
to be honest with
awesome.
you, London's like, especially if you're out in St. Mary's, London's an easy drive.
Yeah,
And the
100%.
7:00 start, you get home early from those games too.
Yeah.
I like. It's not a bad rink to watch.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
usually. They don't draw real well, so usually there's just about as many St. Mary's folks there as there are London.
So when
folks.
you're talking about the horn and all that, elongated, Chess chimes in. You love it, Holly.
I do love it. Yeah, you're right, Jess. I do love it. But I survived Metallica. I survived Motorhead, but now I had to go to the hearing doctor because I keep hearing this horn in my sleep.
No, but love the passion of
Yeah.
that young man, and it's funny because he gave me a text probably about a week and a half ago or whatever, and there's a Lincoln game tonight, and I know you're off to that. But we were going to maybe try to have them on tonight, but they were committed to the game,
yeah.
obviously.
No,
but
you won't
we'll
get
you
him-
in
we'll
with-
get him
with,
and Chester
with
on.
Chess back,
Yeah.
and we'll have a blast.
Hopefully
But,
the Lynx can win 2 of the next 3 and be done Friday night, and then
Yeah.
we can have
Yeah.
Red on next week. So
Yeah.
Anyway, we should keep.
Yeah,
going, I
let's
suppose.
Yeah.
blast through because what time do you got to get out of here by?
We'll get to that in a little bit.
Okay.
We'll get through because we
All
got to
right.
talk about the Irish too, right?
Well,
So,
we're
but-
quickly going to talk about
Well,
the Fort Erie and Port
and
Colborne series.
I did
so.
actually want to talk about that Fort Erie game because it might have been the best one of the lot.
Okay, so
Talk
Fort
about-
Erie wins 5-4. They're down 4-2 going into the third period.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam Tonelli had 2 goals, and
He's such a beauty,
They
that guy.
they scored 3 unanswered goals in the third period to stave off an upset. So what did you see in that game?
What I saw was Leonard Heisey, a German-born goaltender for Cambridge that Clarkey talked about last week. And this kid, I mean, if you thought the Elvis played well, this kid was amazing.
Yeah.
What a performance this could put on. Fort Erie should have beat them. They should have scored 8 or 9 goals.
Really?
But this kid is the real deal, and I'm actually a little bit surprised that he's in this league. He looks too good to me to be playing in this
Do you
league.
know how old he is?
He is, he's an 06, so he turns 19 this year. I
Okay. Mm-hmm.
don't know if he's turned 19 yet. I can't remember what birth year. But he is actually from Germany.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
so you wonder how a kid from Germany ends up in Junior B, to be honest with you. Clarkey knows about this guy, and I wish I'd asked him more about it last week when he was on the show, but that's another one. Go to the 519 highlights.
That's like
and watch.
Weckstrom. How the heck did
How the heck
London
is-
get
you know what I
him?
mean?
Yeah.
London's one thing because they're
Well, they're
reach is-
connected with the Knights.
and their reach is long.
Okay.
And they've got an NHL guy coaching them and new ownership and all that stuff.
Fair.
So they're really trying to. But Cambridge is kind of one of those off the radar teams. They never really. They're never bad, but they never really. And of course, talk about rinks. You love to go watch a game, and the Cambridge rink is one of the best.
Yeah.
It's the only one, I believe, in North America that's older than Stratford's.
Barely, yeah. Like less than a year older. Yeah.
Continually open.
But they shut down for a couple
They
years.
did
to
shut
renovate,
down,
so
yeah.
Stratford gets some kind of designation because we haven't bothered making the changes
Correct. Yeah.
that
yeah.
Cambridge did. There's 2 ways to take that, right?
Right.
But anyway, again, 519 highlights. Feel free to go and check that game out. You will be so impressed. Not to mention Fort Erie plays a game that is very similar to St. Mary's. That speed game, they pressure the puck in all 3 zones. They play at an incredible tempo, and they can do it too. They're not really physical. They will hit, but They just, like I said, they're a team that reminds me of St. Mary's. They've got good goaltending. They don't have the scoring depth that St. Mary's has, but they play a very similar game.
Right.
Ollie, I've heard you speak about Fort Erie now for obviously the podcast has only been going for about a year and a half, but I've been hearing you talk about Fort Erie for about 3 seasons now.
Well, they've
had a
on my
pretty
radar
consistent program.
Last year in the crossover weekend, before they put the divisions together, Fort Erie came to St. Mary's to play a game on the crossover weekend. And my goodness, it was the quickest game played there all year long. And I thought, wow, these guys are great. And then I saw them again because they were in the round robin, the Southern round robin, because they won the Golden Horseshoe last year. Keep in mind, Fort Erie is the defending Golden Horseshoe champs,
right.
and that can't be discounted easily. They don't have everybody back, but they got Tonelli back, and they've got a few of the other guys as well. And they are just, if you ever get a chance to watch them, they are a fun team to watch because of the tempo that they play. I'm not getting paid anytime soon to coach a hockey club. But if I did, I have often, one of my allures to St. Mary's is that's how I coach. Pressure in every zone, forecheck. Get a team that can skate so we can play puck pressure all over the rink and just put relentless pressure on the other team, especially at this level where, kids at this, it's not like senior or pro. They don't make as many mistakes under pressure. Like that's the way that St. Mary's plays the way I would want a team to play if I was coaching them. And Fort Erie plays a very similar game. And I think that's why they catch my eye so well.
Right.
There you go.
What about Port Colborne? They won Friday night 8-2. They pumped Caledonia. They had Jalen Lobo had a hat trick.
Well, and you have to know about Jalen Lobo. He's an AP. He's a
Wow,
16-year-old,
I did not know that.
He's a 16-year-old AP who has played 10 games for them and has 11 goals.
Wow.
He's a kid from Milton, another kid from Milton. And he came out last night in game one and scored a hat trick.
Yeah, he lit it up.
But I said, who is this kid? And he's not on their actual roster because he's an AP.
Jeez.
And he's playing 18U.
What's he playing, like Elgin Middlesex or something like
because he's
that?
from Milton, and I think Milton has a elite AAA
Probably, yeah.
program called
Yeah.
something Hawks. Winter
Okay.
Hawks, maybe. It might be the Milton Winter Hawks. Don't
Okay.
quote me on that.
Yeah.
Chess, you can fact check me. But anyways, he's a 16-year-old kid from Milton who has 11 goals in 10 call-ups.
Crazy.
Wow. And he's a guy that you had better start keeping an eye on because he may just go right through this league, right into the O.
That Russian you and Les and Dylan were talking about, Vasily Serov, he had 2 as well.
4 points.
Yeah. And then for Caledonia, Brody Lead had 2 goals. So you got Port Colborne. They were the number 4 seed. It made me look bad. I had a bunch of guys chirping me there Saturday at the Irish game saying, Razor, what happened, to your to your Caledonia pick? And I'm like, boys, give them some time. And then sure enough, Saturday they did their thing. They came back. They won 5-3. Ethan Osborne had 2 and Evan Braddocks.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, he had 2 as well. So they're squared up at 1-1. So it's just like you said on the playoff preview, where it was going to be 2 teams playing, mean and grinding. I want to see these guys. I want to see Lobo and Serov listening to you talk about them. So
they only had 3 penalties Friday night.
Did
combined.
That's the shocker to me is that they played it clean.
Yeah, and Port Colborne had 50 shots.
Crazy.
So
crazy.
And talking about predictions, Razor, on the preview show, Les was the one who said that Brantford was going to be the upset.
Took Brantford
He
And
did.
I didn't
He
see
did.
Dylan Baker's face, obviously, because he called in, but
Sure.
I'm pretty confident he might have rolled his eyes at that.
Les is
Everybody
making
was
us look
looking at
bad,
Les,
right?
and you know
check
what?
the
And you picked London. That
did,
was the
yes.
other one.
Yeah.
that we all took.
So-
Listable.
There's lots left.
Oh, yeah,
Don't get me
still.
wrong, but I know that Les has
Yeah.
probably got a bigger smirk than.
Smiling like the butcher's dog.
Like a jackass eating thistles.
There you go. So, great first
but-
week in the Go playoffs.
Yes.
Week 2 starts tonight, and there's a couple big games tomorrow night as well. And
Yeah.
When does Stratford play next?
Stratford plays Wednesday in LaSalle, and then back home for the regular Friday affair.
Right.
Yeah, you and I are talking about Thursday making a roadie to Waterloo.
Yeah, I know I'm going to Waterloo, and
Probably you are too, Razor.
Yeah, we were going to go to the Kent there since Stratford doesn't have one anymore for dinner, and then we were going to go to the game. So,
Chess fact checked for us. Lobo is a U16 with the Oakville Rangers.
Oakville.
nice.
Yeah, thanks, Chess.
Yes.
Keep me
And
honest.
stop sending us invoices because we're not paying them, Chess.
All right, so the Irish get by Petrolia.
Yeah.
Then they go to Tilbury on Saturday night, which should have been their home night, but Tilbury's not used to playing this deep in the playoffs, so they have trouble getting ice time, apparently.
Yep.
My understanding is that Tilbury's options were 7:30 Saturday night or 8:45 Sunday,
Yeah, which is
Wow.
no good.
Yeah.
which is not.
No.
But
So,
I tell you what, that was a blast.
And you went down.
I did
Yeah.
because I was halfway there. I played golf Saturday
oh, wow.
in Dorchester
Pine
at
Knot. Yep, perfect.
And I got out there, all that rain that came Saturday morning, I kept an eye on my app going, come on, baby, you can do it, you can do it. And I got out at 2 o'clock, and I finished 18 holes about 5 after 6, and then I was forced into a decision, either go west and go home, or east and go home, or go west.
to
and
the
it's
game.
only, I checked my my GPS, and it's only 80 minutes up the
I
401
was
to Tilbury.
just going to say, it was probably about an
And
hour
so
18.
like the Pine Knot is right on the 401, so I
Yeah.
said, you know what, screw it, I'm going. So
Wow.
before I got a chance to talk myself out of it, I hopped on the 401, buggered off down there, thought I was late because I showed up about 7:38. I show up at the rink, park the truck, and everybody's standing outside. And so I went back on the app going, it did say 7:30. Apparently, similar problem to what happened on Sunday. They broke a piece of glass
Oh, geez.
behind the net before the game, so it was delayed getting started. And in case you want to, I didn't get the kid's name. It was a U9 kid who broke the glass.
Wow.
With a slap shot. And so I don't know, maybe we may have to get
Well,
some
if you
ID
just
on this
if you
kid
hit
or
it
whatever.
in the
Yeah.
right edge,
Yeah.
then it'll just shatter. So there's two types of glass. There's armor plate, which they ended up banning in the NHL because it's like hitting a brick wall.
Yeah, Vancouver had that, and they had all kinds of concussion.
Yeah.
injuries,
So when they went with the seamless glass, all the players were getting
Well,
concussions
yeah.
Yeah.
when they were getting hit. And so then they ended up, the Players Association said, no, we don't want that. We want like the plexiglass
Yeah.
that
With the
like
stanchions, yeah.
Exactly. And so then they originally said, the NHL went, okay, we'll go from hash mark around the net to hash mark with plexi and then along the sides with the armor plate. Well, then I think it was Al Iafrate or somebody got hit, with one of the stanchions. So they ended up just going back to
Yeah.
plexi, which is like a third of the weight,
Yep.
Well,
but it marks up.
But it's like with when Tim Taylor was on, you'd go into the corner in Buffalo, you'd get hit, and it'd shoot you right out to the blue line. Right. So,
Yeah.
And just a really fun fact, just a little teaser for you guys. We've gotten contact with Tim Taylor again, and he's coming on in the spring
Yeah,
again.
he's going to come on for our
preview
playoff
show?
preview. Yeah, so he's going to be on the phone like Dylan Baker was.
Awesome.
Because he's down in Tampa doing work. But he said, yeah, I'd love to come on. And so that's exciting. We're going to have Tails on for our
Absolutely.
NHL playoff preview.
Sweet.
And
So-
that's that's fun. So
Yeah.
okay, so
back to the
game,
Irish.
The game got going, and right away, as I had predicted, Stratford's speed was going to be a problem for Tilbury's defense. Now, to be clear, anybody who's watched Tilbury, especially last night, knows that their forwards are not slow, because the pace of that game was as quick a game
Yeah.
as we've seen. The only one I thought that rivaled that game was the Alvinston game from about a month ago.
Right.
That might be the fastest hockey game I've ever watched in that rink, the Stratford Alvinston. So fingers crossed for a 7-game series with those guys.
Right.
But Stratford was all over them. They started Kyle Menson, who they have been trying to pump as their number one. Polidori, Ryan Polidori, I think his first name is.
Yes.
Was the goalie of the year the first year that they were in the league in 23. And they finished first. Dylan Denemy was the MVP, led the league in scoring. Polidori was the best goalie in the league. But he had a bit of an up and down year this year. And they've been really pushing this Menson to be their number one guy, and that was not working out there.
happening.
Having said that, it was a gong show with the refereeing. Both sides were ready to string the one guy up. I mean, it was, again, I try not to bash refs, but this, I don't know his name. I think it's smart. I don't like referees with their names on the back. I think
Yeah,
it's just asking for trouble.
I think they did that because of Les Vaders.
I did, maybe.
Rumor has it.
Yeah. I think they took, that's the question. Did they take the names off because of Les, or did they put them on because of Les? Anyways,
Just kidding,
it was just not, we were measuring, and Stratford did not go 4 minutes without taking a penalty. They were told that if anybody says anything to the referee, they were going to throw him out. Sean O'Brien had 2 10-game misconducts for questioning calls, and it just turned into a gong show. And so after the second period was over, it was 6-5 for Stratford, and it was just when they finally got down to playing, it was such good hockey.
Yeah.
It really was, and Stratford was playing so well, and Cole Thiessen, who didn't know what his future was going to be on Sunday, but on Saturday night, he was amazing. And I was telling you guys off air before, I talked to a young guy about Thiessen, and I talked to a guy my age about Thiessen, and they both made comparisons. The young guy said he played like Makar, and the older guy said he skated like Coffey. And I think both of them are right, because I've seen Cole Thiessen as a defenseman be the first one in on the forecheck, which I'm not sure. When was the last time you saw a defenseman first in on a dump in?
Yeah.
That he wasn't carrying the puck.
I thought he was a forward for a period of time because he was jumping in so much.
He went in for the
Just on
forecheck,
Sunday.
lost the battle, and was still back to turn a 2-on-1 into a 2-on-2. Just an amazing skater, and he scored a beautiful goal. And Magwood, shocker, he scored a beautiful goal. They were up 6-3, but then they got in more penalty trouble. And Tilbury is a nasty, nasty power play team. They've got Denemy, they've got Jake Durham, who's got 11 or 12 goals in these playoffs already. They've got Travis Winkworth, who might be, I think he's even faster than Cole Thiessen, to be honest with you. He was certainly the fastest guy in the league last year. And of course, Jennings, the defenseman, is a beautiful skater too, great player. And so that was a real back and forth kind of game. Tilbury tied it up early in the third, and then Stratford scored. Was it Montgomery? Who got that 7th goal?
I'm not sure.
It was Pekka. Jaden Pekka scored to make it 7-6. And then they actually went 18 minutes without a penalty, because there was a long discussion where we were standing, and all 6 of us Irish fans, and I counted, because that was it. We were all standing beside each other. There was famous Mikey and myself and Trey Hamilton and his dad and the 2 trainer guys, and just the 6 of us.
Yeah.
And so there is direct access to the Stratford bench, and they are fuming. They can't believe the referees. And so I ran into Marco, and he is apoplectic. He really is. So I said to him,
the owner.
I said, you really just
Is that a disease?
Look it up in the dictionary. Google it.
fact check that one, Chess. So I said to him, I said, what's going on? And he's like, I tried to talk to him, and he's like, and he's doing this, and we're right. And I said, fine. I said, look, are you married? He said, yeah. I said, do you ever get in an argument and you're right, but you'll lose anyway? And he just, all of a sudden he went, yeah. and after that, Stratford just shut up about it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they went 18 minutes without a penalty. And then one of the strangest plays I've seen all season, and I've seen a few this year in this league, that's for sure. There's a scramble in front of the Stratford net. It's still 7-6. There's about 2 minutes left in the game. And I think it was Winkworth. Capriati freezes the puck, and Winkworth came so hard, speared him so hard, he was down for 5 minutes, got him square. And, of course, Stratford reacted, including Connor Hall, who is one of the biggest men in this league.
Right.
And a nasty, we saw playoff.
Great defenseman.
Connor Hall, one of the best defensemen in this league, and we saw playoff Connor Hall, who is one bad man in the playoffs.
Bad
Holy man.
MF.
He is a bad dude, man. And he grabbed Winkworth and he got him down on the ice. And there was push me, shove you, mother wears army boots, all that fun stuff. And at the end of that scramble, Stratford gets put down 5-3. They got the only 2 penalties, including 4 minutes to haul.
Well, because it said on the internet that Capriotti got a spearing penalty
he did.
with a minute 25.
Well, that was he earned that one. Okay. Yeah, that was you know the old crotch lifty?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one he
Guy
earned
was
because-
standing in front of
Well,
him.
Benga,
Well, how's
it
she
was-
going?
It was Benga
Right.
who was doing it. And Benga, here's the thing, the puck was already out and Benga was sticking him like this when the puck's gone.
Right.
And so as soon as he turned around, Capriotti made his legs longer, if you follow my meaning, and he earned that penalty. But like I said, now Winkworth comes in and spears the goaltender so that he's hurt. Hall does something about it, and he gets the only penalty. And so now they're down 5-3. And not only are they down 5-3, it's a 4-minute penalty. So if Tilbury ties it up in the last minute, it's still 5-on-3 going to overtime. We're going, oh my God,
Yeah,
he's going
yeah.
to cost us the game. But I forgot about number 19.
Magwood.
Zach
Yeah.
Magwood, who is, I'm running out. I like to pride myself on a fairly lengthy dictionary, and I'm running out of superlatives for this kid.
Yeah.
And he took over. He took over. He literally took over the game. He won the faceoff back to Murray, who dumped it down. They brought it back down, took a shot, got a faceoff. He won the faceoff, back to Murray, shoots it down the ice again. And then with 11 seconds left, he deked out 2 Tilbury defensemen, and then the goaltender, what's that? Remember that old line by Ronick about Patrick Waugh looking for his jockstrap up in the rafters of the United Center?
Yeah.
He did one of those dirty dangles that he does and scored with about 15 seconds left in the game, made it 8-6, and everybody went home. And all 6 of us went nuts.
Well, Magwood had 2 goals and assists, and Brulot had 2 and 2.
Had the monster game.
Yeah.
2 and 2. He had 2 and 3 on the website last night.
Okay.
He had
Yeah,
a big
maybe 2
5-point
and 3. Yeah.
So that was long-winded, but go into yesterday's game 2, and wow, what a hockey game that was.
That was a
you
good
guys,
game.
You guys were all there for that one. You can help me
Yep.
out with analysis here. The short story
The Thiessen Show.
is it was Cole Thiessen who was probably the first star of the game, and but I gotta say on air how confused I am about that overtime goal. And here's what happened: it was really bad luck, and it almost worked because Jake Durham, who is a wonderful player and has it seems like he's got almost as many dangles as Magwood does. What a stick handler
Yeah.
this guy is! And they were shorthanded, and the defenseman got the puck and. Immediately, Durham takes off, and he's behind Henderson. And if this lob pass works, he's gone. But he shot it too much to the left, and it went in the stands, and he gets a penalty. And so now they got to kill the penalty off. And they killed the penalty off. But here's the thing. The defenseman is number 4, and I can't remember his name because I'm old. But he come out of the box, killed the penalty. Stratford, Magwood still got the puck.
For Tilbury.
Yeah.
Montgomery.
Was that his name?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Johnny Montgomery.
Montgomery got the penalty, and he comes out of the penalty box. Magwood's got the puck in Tilbury's end, high at the blue line on the left side. And he's looking, and he tries to make a pass and fans on it. And I look over, and for some reason, Montgomery's headed back to the bench. He's not coming back into play.
Yeah, rather than go from the penalty box into the play, he goes over to Tilbury's bench, but
And
everyone's in Tilbury's end.
Right. And so what happened then is that the player that comes off the bench has to race in. While this is going on, Magwood finds Brulot on the far side. Brulot taps it to Thiessen, who is now wide open because
In the
Montgomery
slot.
went to the bench instead of coming. If he goes into play,
Right.
then Thiessen's not open and they don't score that goal.
And Holly, you're not alone with that bewilderment of that play because we were all standing together, Shanker and Razor, and there was a bunch of other
in the Armchair Chirpers
I'm
area.
Right.
Chirper zone. We cheered, but we were like, "Holy,
Thank you.
What was that?"
You know.
Like we cheered. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, "Yeah, what was he doing?"
Yeah.
Well,
it was puzzling. And I got to admit, we were all talking about it. I questioned Stratford's coaching with not having Magwood start overtime.
The first 2 shifts,
Nor
he was
did he
not
start
on.
on the power play, which really shocked
Right,
me.
yeah.
It's one thing. I mean, Magwood I think what they like to do, and I don't disagree with it, they like to get Magwood on while play is going so that you can't specifically focus on him.
Right, you
know what I
can't
mean?
set
Match
up.
up.
He's coming
But
off
they
the
get
bench,
last choice.
But he
the
comes
last
off
change.
the bench and then he
yeah.
can just sort of slide into an open spot. Because once he gets the puck, who knows what's going to happen because he's just that good of a player.
And but not judging, but Razor and I are honestly looking at each other going, so there's been 2 segments of lines and no Magwood.
Why wasn't he out
You
there?
specifically
I said, yeah.
If they lose this goddamn game, we're going down to talk to Marco.
But if they would have lost, like in all honesty, if you lose the game and your best player never hit the ice, like it was insanity.
It's like losing a ball game with your closer on the bench.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when you watch
but it worked out. But
Shanker.
Magwood picks the puck up, skates all the way down by the Stratford bench around the net, and as he turns, he whiffs on it. And all the Tilbury guys are focused on him.
Yes.
So Thiessen just drops down low, and he's no one around him.
yeah.
Puts it in.
I was saying to you when you got here tonight, Holly, and obviously we talked a bit over the weekend, but this Thiessen player, God, he sticks out.
Yeah.
He sticks out painfully like a sore thumb in such a great way. Like he is.
He takes a lot of pressure off of Magwood. Like you've got Brulot and Pekka.
And you know
and
what?
plays
Hats
huge
off.
minutes,
too.
Hats off to Brulot. Man, he's
he's been stepping it up.
He has been stepping it up.
yeah.
Like visually when he plays, first of all, he's a big player, which really helps him with his game. But the thing about it is he doesn't leave himself vulnerable, and he doesn't leave his line mates vulnerable. All of his passes, like you could just see, they're calculated. It helps when you play with the great line mates that he has. But so proud of that player, Brulot.
Yeah.
Former Stratford Culleton.
Former Stratford Culleton. And let's not forget Weirzy.
Zach Weir, another former Stratford Culleton who
What a performance.
Weir
last
played
night.
great. Like Weir played good. Paula Dory played unbelievable
That
for
could have
Tilbury.
Been, that could have been 9-3 as far as I'm
yeah,
concerned.
like if it wasn't for him and
I say to
Tilbury's
you
net.
in between the first and second, I said we're in trouble.
Yeah.
We got a hot goalie on our hands, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
we were saying that too,
Well, that
Shanker.
save he
Trey
made,
was saying it on air too.
Yeah.
like that save he made with 8 minutes to go around there on Stokes, wide open, and the
Yeah.
pad save,
Yes.
unbelievable.
Kicked that right pad out and
Stokesy had a really
Yep.
uncharacteristic game of maybe miscalculations of plays. He had a rough go, but
He was good. I
can
thought he was
happen.
good in his own end. He just,
Yeah.
he wasn't his normal self in the opposite.
And that's all it
opposing
was.
end.
I'm not,
Also, there were 2 or
criticizing.
3 times where he got in behind the defense and passes came his way, and he just couldn't flag him down.
That's kind of what I'm
the
talking
other one
about.
too is Palillo.
He had the breakaway and he missed.
yeah.
Which is
Well, he
not,
fanned
not
on it.
Yeah, it's
Like,
not
He
him.
lost control of the puck.
Yeah.
And you know what? You have those guys. Listen, I'm not here to
But
point
the-
out, hey,
and-
they better figure it out. They've been impactful players, right?
They're up 2-0 without guys like Stokes and Palillo really getting going. Palillo is snake bit, just completely
Yeah.
snake bit. He's way too. Keep in mind, this guy was number 2 in the league in scoring last season.
Right.
With
right.
Aurora. Or
With
with Stratford.
Woodstock.
With Woodstock?
With Woodstock, with Kevin who
Last
led
year,
the league
right,
in
right,
scores.
right.
Yeah.
And he was fantastic in the regular season, and he was also fantastic
And he'll be fine.
against Petrolia. And eventually they'll start going in. So if you're up 2-0 and you're not getting any secondary scoring from that line, which changed. I mean, they changed it up. I don't know if you noticed. They started with Pekka on with Magwood and
I did
Brulot,
notice that.
but
Yeah.
they used Colin Martin. I love Marty. He's an OG. But first of all, in 4 years, that's the first time I've seen him play center. And secondly, that's the first time I've seen him play as a top 6 forward.
Right.
So as much as I love him and he's a great player, they needed a little more spark out of that line. And you got Stokes and Palillo on the wings going, we need a little bit more. And so I thought it was a smart coaching move to move Hernandez, who's playing better this round than he did last round, moved him up with the top line and put Jaden Pekka at center ice in between Stokes and Palillo.
One of my favorites, and I hadn't seen him in a while, so it was really good to see him play a nice solid game last night, was Henderson.
Yeah.
Hendy, yeah.
Number
Did
two,
you notice that
24.
also on the power play, how much Tilbury just, they don't care
Yep.
about down low. They bring a guy
Yep.
right
Yeah.
out to the line.
Yeah.
They will not let
Because
Hendy
he's
shoot.
like that. And
well,
he's a guy that just...
Hendy shoots it near 100 mile an hour,
Yeah.
man. So
He's got a heavy shot.
And I was saying to you probably a couple times, like last night in that game, I love the way he plays. He plays, and when I say this, it's responsibly, but he plays loose, like he's slippery. He's, let's not get carried away with like a Makar, but he's very offensive minded, but he's completely responsible in the D end when you know, he's defending in his own zone.
Yep, great point.
And I just think that you know, I'm a huge fan of his, and I'm glad that you know, he had a great game and coming to the plate, especially in the playoffs, stuff like that. So.
Yeah, like I just one last thing before we go. I know Halser's got to slide over to St. Mary's, but I just, you know, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but Feezy had 2 goals in Alvinston's loss there the other night against Strathroy.
We should talk about that game too.
You know, Robbie Shrimp didn't play in that game.
No, he didn't.
But
But
you
that
know,
was 3-0 Alvinston.
yeah.
And
Feezy had 2 of the first 3 goals.
Fortunately, because you know, it's a pay-per-view, the Alvinston games, but as a
Yeah, we were blacked out here in
yeah,
Stratford.
yeah, but being on the on the
Semi-pro team and their pay-per-view.
Now, in fairness, they're the ones. The first one through the door always gets shot, right? And so it's a pilot program. We're not friends, me and Alvinston, but it's a pilot program. The league is trying to find out if there's a market and if it'll work anywhere.
That's putting the cart before the horse.
Absolutely.
But I get
But
it.
if there is a market where it will work, it's Alvinston, because they
Yeah.
have got the biggest fan base.
They
have-
travel well.
They have the most
They
passionate
do.
fan base, and they
Yep.
sell out every game
Yes.
because of the size of their rink.
Yeah.
If they had the Stratford rink, they'd probably sell out that rink too. But they sell out that. I call it the Alphabet Arena. It's like the BAICC or
Right.
something like that. Brooke Alvinston.
It's like a
Community
glorified
Center.
Dufferin Arena
Brooke
where the
Al-
sitting's on one side.
Exactly.
Actually, the one that reminds me of is Mitchell.
Yes.
It's a lot
You
like
mentioned
the
that,
Mitchell
yeah.
rink. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot like the Mitchell rink. And like I said, they sell it out, then they show it on the screen in the bar, and they sell out the bar.
Right.
And they got in trouble with the fire people, like St. Mary's did last year, for letting too many people in between the rink and the bar.
Right.
And so they're on a limited whatever. So like I said, anyway, I get it on my phone because I'm on the podcast and I have
Yeah.
like this.
Good stuff.
I got a guy.
Backdoor
So anyway,
number.
I watched it. I watched the game, and it was
It's a DirecTV guy
it
from
was-
years ago.
Jeff
Larry.
Carr.
It's Larry, the cable guy.
Wayne Mason.
Cable guy.
Mace, my DirecTV card's down again. Don't bother me. It's supper time.
Scotty
Yeah, no
Bowman.
doubt. So
Tim
where was I
Taylor.
going with that? Oh, right. So I watched the game, and it was the opposite of the Tilbury Stratford series, which is 100 miles an hour back and forth. Strathroy made Alvinston play in sand. They slowed the game down to a walk.
Right, which
And
is
it was-
smart.
It was boring to watch.
Really?
But effective. Alvinston went
okay.
up 3-0.
Yeah.
And Strathroy got a goal out of, I think, Buck. And Bucky's a peach. He really is. This guy, he played like 7 games in the league, got 15 goals, 1 assist.
Right.
He's a finisher.
Yeah.
But they put, when Schremp is there, they put Buck with McQueen, who they got from Tilsonburg, and Schremp.
Yeah.
And that's a crazy, crazy good line.
Yeah.
But Schremp wasn't there, so I'm not. I couldn't really tell exactly who they were playing.
Probably
with.
had dinner with his girlfriend or something.
Maybe, who knows? But they came back, and then it went into overtime, and they lasted about 8 or 10 minutes in that overtime. So when you look at it, in the semifinals, there have been 3 games played.
Yeah.
The first one went to overtime, 4-3. The second one was a last-minute goal to make it 8-6, and the third one was an overtime game as well. So we've got parity in the Ontario Super Hockey League. For all their
Right.
foibles, for all their difficulties, for all the gong show, what we're seeing in the semifinals is what we've always hoped to see from the get-go, was good hockey played by good hockey players in good places to watch hockey games.
Yeah.
I hope that it, you know, if the hockey gods all align, that it's a Stratford Alvinston final, like that would be unbelievable. Because I just remember last year, like there was like 1,100 people there at the 13
For game 6, there was 1,300 people. in the barn.
1,300 people. So and I bet you probably 400 or 500 of them were Alvinston fans.
And, well, there were 2 bus loads, and they showed up 90 minutes before game
Yeah.
time, and they
Smashed.
opened
the
they
three
opened-
the $3 beers
Smashed.
didn't
They
hurt.
opened the bar up for these guys,
Yeah.
and
Like-
they made a.
Oh,
they ran
they
out.
did.
They ran out
Yes,
of beer.
yes. Yeah.
So
Sea
you know,
mash.
kudos.
Snow
Yes.
sea.
Yep. Kudos to the passionate Alvinston
Yeah,
fan
good for
base,
them.
So
you know
that's
what I mean?
gonna be good. But there's a
yeah.
lot of hockey
Well,
still.
the other side of the coin is to see Strathroy and Evan DeBrouwer, the best goaltender in the league,
Right.
and Buck and McNeil, and of course,
those-
former NHLer Robbie
Flyer,
Schnapp.
orange.
Yeah.
And of course, those, the best uniforms.
The
They're
best
great.
uniforms
They
in the
are.
league. They
Although
are.
I will say I did like Tilbury's Seattle Kraken colors. That
Did
was
ya?
pretty cool. I did. I
Oh,
like
okay.
that. Not as cool as the
We'll start calling
Strathroy,
you Sailor.
right?
Perfect.
Sailor, right? Well, you called me a lot of things when I was fixing the glass there, right?
Oh, dear. We haven't got into that.
He was the
Jeez.
hero.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
well, we'll talk about that another time.
So-
Halser's
Ollie,
got to get going.
Moving
gotta
forward,
get you.
Game 3 in this series is Saturday night. Same schedule this weekend as last weekend, so 7:30 in Tilbury Saturday night, and then 3:30 at the Willie on Sunday. And you
Okay.
will want to be there for that, folks. The Irish are 2 wins away from the final.
Yeah.
And I don't care who wins in that other series. I just hope it gets 7 games and lots of short-term injuries. Nothing
Yeah.
debilitating or anything like
Yeah.
that. But if Fiji can't play till Game 4, I won't cry over it.
That's going to be good because it's going to be interesting with Chatham being in the playoffs. Then you've got Fiji as one of their coaches.
Right.
How will that intersect
Oh,
with
it'll be
him
everything.
being for
I think he
Alvinston?
should quit.
Wow.
Quit playing.
Well, he missed.
Do I want to go and get $2,500 cash playing hockey, or do I want to?
That's unsourced, but
That's- yeah, that
Jesus,
is-
Razor. We're trying to keep it.
when
Allegedly.
I read it on the men's stall and stall 2, so I'm just going by that, man. Like it is what it is.
Among other things.
the last time Chatham was in Stratford, he missed the play in Alvinston.
Did he?
It was the last regular season game for Alvinston.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that was a different.
Yeah,
you
that
know what
was
I mean?
different, 'cause
They
that
were
game
home and
meant
cooled.
nothing.
They were
Yeah.
home and cooled in first place, and
But McEwen didn't play game 1. I saw. I didn't see him on the lineup,
what? I didn't know that.
and he wasn't in any of the scoring for Alvinston. So that's something
weird, 'cause
to.
He didn't miss a game in the regular
No,
season. He
no.
played every one of them.
So that'll be interesting. Keep an eye on that.
All right.
But listen,
Well, Holly, thanks for your time. We're going to get you off to St. Mary's and
Yep.
enjoy Game 3 between KW and your hometown St. Mary's
Should be a
Lincoln.
dandy.
4-1 St. Mary's tonight.
That's your
Okay.
that's your,
All right.
your
I will
prediction.
say this,
Do you have
I
one,
was-
Razor? Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to say, wow, like KW has been giving them fits. I'm going to say it's 5-3 St. Mary's with an empty netter.
Okay.
I'm still waiting for a 60-minute hockey game from St. Mary's, and that's I actually work with one of the assistant coaches from Waterloo, and he's frustrated obviously because he feels like they should be.
Sure.
He feels like
deserve better.
You
Sure.
know what I mean? They should be at least 1-1. I said, well, that's what good teams do. You know, we've said that already on the
Yeah.
podcast, but now you know why St. Mary's lost 6 games in the regular season, because even when they don't bring their A game, their goalie does.
They
Yeah.
find a way.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's their goalie who
Yes.
saves their bacon. And
Yes.
Ruth Housego saved their bacon in game 1. Make no mistake. He outplayed Chartrand.
Yeah.
And that's why they won. So, and then Armelin was great last night. We fully anticipate Booth Housego back in net tonight as usual.
Can you articulate your prediction?
I will articulate I do think it'll be a 60-minute effort tonight, and I think it'll be 5-1.
Oh, wow. Okay. What
Stole
are you
my
saying?
thunder. I'm thinking it's a convincing win tonight for the hometown Lincolns of 5-1, and I don't think that's outrageous. I think that St. Mary's hasn't played a game yet. I think they're doing well. I think they're piecing together what they have to do, but there's a threshold with this team. I think they're going to break out tonight.
Yeah.
It's 5-1. I don't even think it's going to be close.
I also think that Waterloo is close to breaking.
Yep.
Mentally, spiritually. You know what I mean? It's just they really feel like they should have done better.
Well,
and if
listen.
St. Mary's gets up a couple of goals
Yeah.
early again,
Yeah.
that could be all they got for spiritually for their Siskins.
Yeah. So
All right.
all right. Well,
Fair
we'll
enough to
come
go.
back with the
Yep.
sponsorships after the break, and so Holly, you're going to head out. Shanker, you're going to
Yep.
join us for the last little bit here. We're going to do a little NHL.
I don't even know if we properly introduced Shanker at the beginning of the
we
show.
did.
Yeah, he
did
did.
we?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I
Gotcha.
got your back.
All right.
No
I
worries.
was more concerned making sure I clicked the right button so that we were
That's
live.
fair.
So
It's the
No,
new
we did.
last-minute Larry.
right.
Remember, he gave me the last minute Larry yesterday at the
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's okay, Razor.
Gotcha.
He was too
Fair
worried
enough.
about the.
I was worried about making sure I had a Millie Light ready to go and clicking the right button. So, all right, Halser, we'll
Holly,
enjoy the
thank you.
game.
Peace
Thanks
out,
for all the
everybody.
information.
And we'll be back after a short break for
Yeah.
some NHL stuff.
Yeah, right on.
All right.
Go Lynx.
Thanks, Holly. That was
Good
awesome.
stuff.
That was good.
That was good stuff.
You know what else hurt Stratford yesterday? The short bench. No Robbins, no O'Brien.
3 lines.
Yeah.
Well, it was actually 3 lines on 3 lines last night.
Yeah.
Which doesn't. That's why I loved it, because both teams have star power and they both played the shit out of it.
Exactly.
I gotta work. I'm gonna be late. If I can care.
You're gonna have to park. You have to park down at Little Caesars for the fire department.
It won't be as busy as
No,
Friday.
I'm not sure they'll get 1,000 tonight. But I tell you what, if they get more than 700, I'll make a point to say that St. Mary's is drawing better on a Monday than Stratford is on a Friday. 100%.
Yeah, yeah, that was.
Like Stratford always play like good teams in the first round, like teams that are gonna come and watch. Like it's
Well, fuck, I'll tell you, like I know they're teenagers and stuff, but if Doogie doesn't fucking make those saves, they get blown out in game 1. Now you've got a totally different narrative, right?
when I checked, I was like, oh fuck. I checked, so I was like, oh, it's 1-0 near the end of the second. I thought, all right. And then I saw McDougal's standing on his head.
By the way,
fuck.
sorry, Shaker, we cut you off a couple times there.
That's good. No, it's fine. I was just gonna make some of the same points you made. So.
All right, enjoy the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
All right, Shaker.
have a good one.
Yeah, let me know about Thursday.
Well, you know I'm going, so,
Okay, all right, I'll text you.
yeah,
I
like
said to Jeff, I said, we should make a roadie Saturday down to Alvey. That would be.
Saturday to Tilbury.
Wow. I would like to see Alvinston, see what's going on.
Well, they're
So I-
playing,
Friday. They play
to be
Friday.
honest, I'm hoping it's a sweep, and then Friday I'll go to Strathroy.
That place will be packed.
Yeah.
That'll be a good play. I'd rather watch one in Strathroy than Alby.
Okay. All right, see you guys.
Alvinston's that boring drive, hey?
It is.
When you get off the 402, it's like, holy fuck.
so much entertainment though in Alvinston.
I know.
They got the Jumbotron and they're a fucking rabid fan.
I know. We went there last year for the series. It was crazy. Like we were there 2 hours before the game, just
You're fucking nuts.
just to get a standing room and the bars lined. You don't get to the bar early. You're lined up.
Yeah, I went
crazy.
with Pi in November when Stratford played there, and they're fucking screaming at him, and like it was crazy.
He gets yelled at wherever.
I said it as soon as he fucking did that. I said, I said the league and the team is in trouble. Anyone who thinks that the league and the team was better off without him there, well, I'll be shocked if the league fucking survives, to be honest, so. Oh, well.
Sorry, can you just lock that?
What's that?
Just lock the door. Sorry.
Yeah,
If I didn't. That was good.
yeah. He maybe doesn't need to tell the whole story, like he went pretty
Yeah.
long. That would
Yeah.
be my only thing, but.
Yeah. No,
But he's good, he's good.
All right. I love his sayings.
Oh,
Holy
fuck, yeah.
fuck.
You gotta look up some of the words that he says.
What did he say? Anabolic? I don't know.
I forget.
Hey, how do you turn my listening volume down?
All right, welcome back. Minus Brian. Halser's off to the Lincoln's game, so we've got some sponsors to get into, and then we're going to get into the NHL. Jeff, lead away.
All right. We will start off with SBS Metals. Congratulations to this fine company, courtesy of Kathy McCann and Dennis Culleton. They've actually fabricated these beautiful mounts on the poles downtown that have maps and stuff like that for downtown destination Stratford. Such a wonderful job in craftsmanship. So congratulations to these guys. If you haven't been able to check it out, you can go on to their Facebook page and or Instagram, and they have it there. It's so well done, and we just wanted to send congratulations to that project. What a great opportunity for that company. Stratford's preferred custom commercial or residential metal fabricator, SBS Metals.
Domino's Pizza, the official pizza of the Armchair Chirpers. 2 locations, 406 Ontario and 536 Huron Street. Domino's Pizza.
Great people there. Also our friends at Joe's Diner, the official breakfast, lunch, dinner diner of the Armchair Chirpers, home of the world-famous Perth County breakfast number 4. What do you get there?
You got to get the number 4.
Yeah.
Attaboy. How do you like your eggs?
Over easy.
Attaboy.
Love
You
it.
are over easy, aren't you? You're a big boy. Excellent to hear. Locally owned and operated by the Myers family. Such a great, opportunity for me. They're my landlords, and celebrating 6 years at the Urban Barber. This family has treated me with nothing but the utmost love and respect, and I'm forever thankful for these guys. 2 locations, Stratford and St. Mary's. Joe's Diner.
Brighter Vision, Counselling, Psychology, and Wellness, providing compassionate and effective counseling services to individuals and families in need. They provide a safe and supportive environment where everyone can heal and grow. Brighter Vision, Counselling, Psychology, and Wellness.
Excellent. And we'll get to the last final, near closer to the end.
Yes.
A little NHL action.
So
Is the sky falling in Toronto, or what's going on here?
It kind of feels like it. They're 5-4-1 in their last 10. They've dropped 5 of their past 6 with a 4-2 loss to the Sens there Saturday night. So the 4 or 5 Senators fans here in town are looking at us laughing. But their last win in the past 6 games was the shootout win versus Utah. And now, don't look now, but the Sens, and you brought it up to my attention. I wasn't aware of it, but the Sens are only 4 points behind the Leafs. Holy moly.
They've won 6 in a row now.
Crazy. Crazy. Matthews, he's not 100%. He skipped the morning skate there on Saturday. The Leafs are now 3rd in the Atlantic. And their next 4 games, they got Calgary tonight, then they got Colorado, the Rangers, and Nashville. And folks, everyone's going, it's the goaltending. Well, Stolarz he's slid a little bit, but he's still 4th in save. Hellbook's at 927, and then Vasilevsky and Kemper are tied for 2nd at 919, and then you got Stolarz with a 918 save percentage. So the goals that he gave up there Saturday night, you can't say that they were bad goals. They were just, unfortunate goals. But Nylander, he's 2nd in the league with 37 goals behind Draisaitl. But if the playoffs were to start today, they're 5th in the conference, in the Eastern Conference. They'd be playing Tampa Bay. What a start, to the playoffs. But that's what happens if you don't end up in first.
Razor, listen, I love you to death. What else is new with this team?
Right?
It's the same. It's the same as it was last year, the year before. They changed the coach. You've still got the 4, let's say, I hate saying the C word and core 4. Nothing has changed with this team. You're dealing with the same things. And, it's one of those things where, I think Carlo was a great ad.
So was Tanev and
Yeah, and Tanev's hurt.
yeah,
Matthews is hurt. Matthews
that's
has
huge.
24 goals, my friend.
And what did he have
And
last year? 69.
So you've lost 40 goals. He's on pace for 33. And this isn't criticisms. This is just
No, they're
observations
facts.
of they expected Craig Berube to come in and maybe change the culture, change accountability, whatever that looks like. I watched the game on Saturday night against Ottawa, and it was Janet that pointed it out. She's like, there's no other gear with this team right now. Right now. I'm not saying for the season. But she's like, they just can't find that other level. If it's not the top four that we're talking about that are delivering, they don't look to anybody else. Look at Morgan Riley, minus 20.
Yeah.
Matthews at 24 goals. Now, if he's dealing with an injury, Shanker, what are your thoughts? I think you get him the surgery he needs and you put him on the shelf. I don't know what else. Like, why are you playing him? He's ineffective.
I don't know if it's like one particular thing, like where if he could go under the knife, like he went over to Germany to get some voodoo done on him.
Wasn't it like donkey urine and jacked it into his?
I think so. Yeah, it was donkey urine and camel saliva. So, but he got some crazy voodoo thing spun into his back. Like
he needs to be a top performer in this league if he's going to be happy, and you can just tell he's not.
Even if he was a minus, say, we'll cut it minus 10. You could have had a chance to maybe trade him at the deadline, knowing he's struggling, but nobody wants to take a chance with him.
You're talking Matthews?
No, Riley.
Oh, Jesus.
I was
Christ.
going to say.
Going back to Matthews, before
Yeah.
that Four Nations Cup, there was that talk, well, does Matthews play because he's kind of banged up?
Mm-hmm.
But when you look, he did nothing in the Four Nations Cup. He should have took that time, just shut her down for 2 weeks.
Like
come back-
Pietrangelo for Canada. Yeah.
Come back healthy.
Yeah.
That's
Or try to
hard.
be.
That's
I know.
hard when they named him the captain, right? You know, to go, you know what? I want to win a Stanley Cup. I don't want to play. I get what you're saying because I said the same thing. Being a Leaf fan, I hoped that he didn't play because
I don't think
Yeah.
he should have been named captain, but that's
I don't. I thought that was.
he's
I don't even
not
wanna,
a leader.
I don't even want
He's
to
not
go.
a leader.
I don't even want
He's
to
not.
go here,
Yeah, I
but
know.
I will. I don't think he should be the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
No.
Like, and I say that with the utmost respect. He's not that leader. He's the second tier. He doesn't need to be in front of the camera 82 times in 82 games. Just let him score 70 goals. Let him score that. Let him do what he's got to do.
Like I think
If
he's like a Kucherov, right?
Yeah,
Where
like
he's
he
not
just
the
is.
leader of
Yeah.
the team, but
just let him
I
score.
I think I liked it when they named him captain because I was hoping that would turn him into Crosby, Yzerman.
But the thing about it is, though, Razor, and I appreciate you saying that, but we're not 2-3 years into his career. We're
Yeah.
almost 10. And at year 9-10 where he's at, and Marner and Tavares and all the players that are depended on, to think that a coach like Berube is going to come in and change the whole like culture because they think that Keefe underachieved with this crazy talented roster. You're in the same boat, man.
Berube did a good job for maybe
Listen,
3-4
I'm not
maybe
saying
3-4 months.
I'm
but
not
then
saying the year's over.
you can see the change, right? You can see them kind of get back in their old ways.
and old ways, and you've got Matthews at 24 goals. You've got Riley at minus 20. Like Morgan Riley was putting up crazy numbers in a really healthy way. Maybe he was a little bit of a detriment on defense, but he wasn't a minus 20.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about here?
Like they're 2 games away from being in a wild card spot.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy how
it's-
they've slid so far so quickly. Like
But-
like after the All-Star break or the Four Nations, they are just a fraction of where they were
Well,
before.
and when you see the games, like they're fragile. As soon as adversity needs to happen, they're trying to celebrate in a really bad slide. They're trying to celebrate Max Domi hitting the Florida player in the offensive zone. They kept playing that all morning on Sportsnet because there's nothing else to show.
That was fine if that would have led into something more,
But
it didn't do it. It didn't do anything. Marner
Well,
had
and then
one shot.
You had Domi fighting, and then who was the other fight the other night against? Was it against Ottawa? Was there another fight, or was it the game before? Whatever it was, there was 2 fights, and nothing ignited with the squad.
Yeah.
So there was an interesting scenario, I guess you can say. So you're going into year 9 with all these players that have been signed, and you got Marner for possible free agency coming up. John Tavares, those players. Are they sick of each other after 9 years? Like it's hard to say, and I'm not trying to be foot on the throat with this. Just logical questions. Is it time for a change? Is it time for Marner? You're never going to get back the talent for him, but is it time for him to go? Is it? What's the difference?
I think the thing is, and we've talked off, camera before, where it's hard to draw guys to Toronto. Like, just take a look at the trade deadline. O'Reilly, you don't want to beat a dead horse. He wanted no part of coming back to Toronto. Toronto is a finicky town. You're the hero when things are going good, but you're not able to go to the restaurant or a bar
100%.
and have a couple of beers,
and Les
and
mentioned
fly
that
under
many
the
times,
radar.
right? And I get that.
But people don't want to come. So if you get rid of a guy like Marner, what are you going to get in return? Like, what are you going to, you know what I mean?
100%.
Like, it's like you've got a guy that is born and raised in Toronto, knows what the media is like, puts bums in the seats for the regular season. Like, from an owner's perspective, they're like, this kid isn't going anywhere. He puts bums in our seats. It's like a Guerrero situation, right? Where, he doesn't perform in the playoffs, but he's putting bums in the seats, right? Like, it's crazy.
Okay, so here's a scenario for you. Haven't signed, let's just say, objectively. Marner's not signed going into the playoffs, has a bad playoff. Do you re-sign him?
I do.
I think
Okay.
I think they're handcuffed. I think with them not trading him up to the trade deadline, they've said we're going to keep him. That's basically what they're saying, because if Brad Treliving thinks that if Marner has a bad playoff, that they're going to get anything worth his value in return, he's dreaming.
But the thing about it is, though, Razor and Shanker, you had the same answer. What changes? When you go down the road again, you're going to have to pay Marner. You're going to have to. For him to
they
stay.
have no choice.
Okay, so when you do that, and after 9 years, you're sacrificing your opportunity for depth. When you go to the playoffs and you play a Florida, you play a Tampa, you play whoever, you know what the depths are. You know who the number 3 center is for Tampa? Luke Paul has 28 goals. Right?
Yeah.
So there's these opportunities. What do you do when you get into the deeper lines in Florida? Sam Bennett, these other Rodriguez, there's those players where you get into, if your first top 6 get shut out,
And that's because
who do you got? Lawton?
well, it's unfortunate that, like, I wasn't a Brad Treliving fan when he was in Calgary. I thought he did an okay job up till now, but
With the
he's-
Leafs, you mean?
Yeah, with the
Okay,
Leafs.
sure.
But the problem that I see with him is that the 2 teams that you mentioned, Zito in Florida, like, turn them around in 2 years. Like, he ended up stealing guys, like, because he's able to evaluate talent.
Well, and
they're able
that's
to
what it
draft, and they were able to go and make deals.
Razor Bennett was a write-off in Calgary.
Right.
They picked him up for nothing.
Nothing.
And Reinhardt in Buffalo.
Buffalo. Crazy.
Off-
Stole him.
Off the radar. And you know what they do? Maurice, Zito, and whoever else wants to be in that meeting sits down and goes, this is going to be your role. This is how we're going to do it. Are you in or are you out?
But Bobrovsky, nobody wanted him.
Well, and that's the thing. But with Toronto, it's like, how many times? And I get what you're saying about Marner. I do, Razor and Schenker. I do get it. How many times do you go down this road, and how has it worked out for you so far? It's not like they went. Like they went into the second round and lost in 7. They went into the second round and lost in 5, and we're talking like these are your big boys playing.
So last year, I'm not going to name Leaf fans' names, but
Please do.
Less faders.
No,
but
it's
you
all
get the
good.
same thing. Well, the salary cap's going up, so we can afford to pay
100%.
this. But so it's going to happen with Marner. Oh, salary cap's going up. Give him. He's not worth 10, but they're going to give him 10.
Yeah.
Oh, we can bring in somebody else to help out, but they're not going to be able to handle the media.
Yeah.
And I said to Les last year, why not fall to the wild card spot, play someone new, instead of having all that pressure on you.
100%.
Beat Tampa, beat Florida. You know what I mean?
There's two different ways to look at it with the Leafs. You've got the way the ownership looks at it and shareholders, and all they care about is having those expensive corporate seats paid for every night. A guy like Mitch Marner does that for them because that's what they budget is regular season games. The playoffs are all bonus. Their due diligence to their shareholders is to make sure that as many bums are in those seats for those 82 games or 41 home games.
That's not it at all, Razor.
Okay,
that's not
I'm
it
saying
at all. But
I'm
go
saying
ahead.
from corporate, from Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. That's what they would love to have a cup. Don't get me wrong. From a fan's perspective, we're all sitting here going, Mitch Marner, he's had average. Like, he hasn't had terrible numbers in the playoffs. He's had average numbers. But average numbers don't make you the highest paid right winger in the NHL.
Right.
So there's two different ways. There's two different metrics
But
of
Razor,
Mitch Marner.
you like, and I will just say this. MLSE is not worried about ticket sales.
No.
They are 80% corporate at their home games. It's paid for. It's done. The rest are season ticket holders and the ones who are able to scramble enough money to. It's not about that. And I don't even think at this point that it's about the regular season. It's about winning. And I don't really think that the philosophy. Here's a question for you: what has changed from Dubas to Tree Living with this team and accomplishments? And what I mean by that is, everybody was hammering on Keefe. Everybody was hammering on Dubas. Dumbass. We've heard it all. Really, we have. What's changed? They're still in the same predicament at the same time of year with the same problems. You've had a goalie tandem that was really encouraged. Stolars has played well. Walls played well.
Yes.
They were in the top 5, and Les would say it. When's the last time that they were going for the tandem trophy? Mm-hmm. Well, now they're 18th in the league. Well, there's a difference because each player, goalie-wise, has never played over 30 games in a year. It's the ebbs and flows of 82.
But Stolarz was hurt for...
And sure, and that's fine.
Yeah,
so,
like a month.
But the thing about it is that I want to say to you is, for me, and I'm just saying, and people can, call me names, whatever they want. I don't see...
we're reading them on the comments.
Yeah, I don't see anything different with your Toronto Maple Leafs this year. I don't.
Time will tell. Because with the playoffs coming up, we can say whatever we want now. We can be our armchair GMs right now. But until you get into the playoffs and guys are healthy and you see whether guys like Matthew can produce or Marner produces, it's too early to tell. We can go around in
Well,
circles.
Razor, there's 15 games left. It's
Yeah.
not too early to tell.
But I'm just saying, though.
Toronto, I would say, better pull it together because 15 games, people think it's outlandish to think, and I'm not going to say they're going to miss the playoffs because that'd be a foolish comment. But all of a sudden they're in the wild card.
Which was shocking 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That would even be a conversation. But let's say all they got to do is make the day. Like, if they don't end up in first, they might as well end up in eighth because it doesn't matter. You don't have a very good matchup. No. So when they get to the playoffs, I'm just saying that we need to wait and see what happens because good goaltending, will hide a lot of flaws. Like, if you get Stolars or Wall on a heater, it doesn't matter that Marner has no points through the first 3 games, of the play. Like, good goaltending will solve a lot of problems.
Sure.
And they've been getting average goaltending. Not bad, average.
So I guess here's a question. Marner, what do you think he's asking for?
He's going to be asking for the moon. For him to put up with all the BS
Yeah.
with Toronto media, he's going to want to be the top paid right winger.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, 13,
Sure,
whatever.
let's say 13
Yeah.
on the low end.
Like Matthews type money.
Sure. Okay. So if he's asking that amount of money, Razor, why are you giving him a free pass?
What do you mean a free pass?
When you say
where-
if Stolars plays well in the playoffs, it doesn't matter that Marner has a quiet playoff.
Because I think there's he I'm not going to say a generational talent, but take for example the Four Nations. He didn't do a whole. He had the OT goal. Didn't do a whole lot through the whole. Couldn't keep up. Couldn't mesh with McDavid
Sure.
the whole game.
Yeah.
Takes a pass in overtime, a drop pass from
Great play. Great
from
play.
Sid, and lets go a beautiful wrist shot. Where the goalie was screened,
Sure.
picks it up late. Everyone's talking about how Marner had a great game. He didn't have a great game. He had an okay game, and he had a good shot in overtime
Sure.
to win it.
Yeah.
Didn't do a whole lot in the final game against the Americans until he set up Bennett, and that was a great play. Got cut into the middle, brought the D with him, dished it off to Bennett, got him alone with Hellebuck, and then he had that great pass. But like we talked about before, he pulled it off the boards, passed it to McDavid. He hadn't done a whole lot the whole game. So he can go spurts of not statistically doing
Right.
a whole lot and then come up at a big moment.
Sure.
He has that ability. A lot of guys don't have that ability. And so
But the thing about it is, not a lot of guys are in the top 7% of payroll in the NHL.
That's,
and I'm not,
that's
listen,
where it's
Razor,
like,
I'm not coming at you.
no, I get it.
All I'm saying is, if this player is demanding $13 million a year,
Well, you want him to
What-
play
what's-
like Nikita Kucherov. That's what you want. If you're paying him that kind of money.
And listen, it's not always about points. It's about disappearing in a game when you're watching it as a fan and say, Jesus, is Marner playing tonight?
But he puts up those sneaky points though. Like you'll look, Toronto won 5-1. He didn't score
In the regular season.
He didn't
Yeah.
score, but he might have 2 assists this game, 2 assists this game.
Yeah.
He puts up
So I
points.
guess I'm getting into
But he's-
playoff production.
He's not worth. I wouldn't pay him over 10. He's not worth it. But Toronto will.
But are you going to
because they-
lose him? Are you going to lose him for nothing?
I know, Razor, but
They're gonna overpay him,
right?
That's what Jeff's saying. They're gonna overpay him and he doesn't worth it.
What
I
I'm
get it.
saying is,
I
we're
get
not
it.
in year 3
I
with this
get it.
experiment.
Yeah.
We're in year 9,
Yeah.
and nothing has happened. Nothing.
And that's on the GM for not being able to bring in guys. Because
Yeah, but-
know.
but Razor,
that you-
I know,
you-
but the thing about so this is what I'm getting at. And with all due respect, you have all your chips in on Marner, Matthews, Nylander, and to an extent Tavares.
till the end of this year.
Till the end of this year. He's going to sign for 7 or 8. If you're not prepared to pay that, then he probably won't be playing. Well, that's your opinion.
That's what I
A
would
lot of
do.
fans want to see him. I'll digress. What I'm saying is when you wrap up that much money in that short amount of players, your depth.
You're just doing a Dubas.
Look at
That's what
how
you're doing.
excited Toronto fans were re-signing Domi. I'm sorry. I know he's a $3 million a year player, and he's not worth it.
No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You're right.
I don't know.
And when you don't have that, like what I'm talking is, and I'm not saying that you need to, well, I guess I might be saying, Luke Paul is the third line center for Tampa Bay with 27 goals.
Yeah, probably making like
$5 million.
1.5. Oh, is he making that much?
He's making enough.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is it's the same old with Toronto, and I'm not like at this point with the drought that Canadian teams have of winning a Stanley Cup, I would probably go down to the frickin' parade. Like it's been that
It's
long.
been like 30 years.
Well, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How much it is.
Was it Montreal? I think that's the last Stanley.
92
Yeah.
or 93. But all I'm trying to say is Toronto, like, I completely understand what you're saying about Marner. How do you get rid of him? Well, nothing changes. Nothing changes.
That's where, and I loved it last year in the playoffs when they were shit in the bed against was it Boston they played? Who put them out last year? I think it was Boston. But anyways, they were on the verge of getting knocked out. And as they went to commercial, Sportsnet. So this is like one of their owners.
Yeah.
Are playing Aerosmith, same old song and dance. I was texting you guys, going like, I can't believe they're actually playing that. But listen, we better wrap this up.
I have one quick thing.
Okay.
You look at all these other teams: Boston, Colorado. They have no problem getting rid of. Hey, do you want to re-sign? No, I want this. Like Marchand. Sorry, we're going to trade you. But with Toronto,
Because they have trouble getting guys.
Rantanen,
and nobody wants them.
Rantanen
Right.
was told by Joe Sakic unofficially, listen, we're prepared to pay one player higher
Than you.
than McKinnon. His name's Cale Makar. I think it's justified.
Absolutely.
What they do, walk out of the meeting, Joe Sakic, yeah, how you doing? Great. I wonder if Drury and Nishis that got traded to Colorado ever sent the GM for the Hurricanes a thank you card.
Exactly.
Playing with McKinnon.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly. That was one part left out of the resume was that, Rantanen doesn't come with McKinnon.
Yeah.
Look at Fedorov when he got traded. We talked about that before.
I know. These
Just
guys
bigger than the
these
team.
guys chase the money. Like and
Rantanen will be, and mark my words and write it down, Rantanen will be an 85-point player, $12 million in Dallas the rest of his career.
Yeah.
That's all he will be.
Yeah.
And that may seem harsh. That's all he'll be.
And I agree. When you leave playing with one of the best players in the world, and I'm not saying that Dallas doesn't have quality players, but they're no Nathan McKinnon. Let's not kid ourselves.
Dallas is a great team.
Yeah.
And good luck to them playing Colorado first round.
Yeah.
Good
Right.
Lord.
Yep.
What a mess.
Well, that would be a dream matchup.
Well, that's
for
what it's
viewers.
slated right now.
Exactly. Yeah. Listen,
But-
we better run here. Fellas, I'm tired of being the whipping post with you guys in my leaves. Les, where are you when I need you? No,
And another thing. No, just kidding.
Jeff wants sub
Yeah.
with his Habs. They're hot.
well,
A couple points
Well,
over the wild card.
congratulations to Lane Hudson. He
he's having a
was
fantastic
the fourth
year.
fastest to 50 assists for a rookie, out-dueling Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar. Well, I think we got a little stud on our hands. But,
Caulfield's playing
yeah,
well.
Caulfield's playing well. He's going to
Montembeault
flirt with
is
40
playing
goals this
well.
year.
He's played well all year.
Yeah.
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 So
you guys are
Suzuki-
looking good. And,
Yeah, we'll
and you
see.
guys
We'll
are
see.
like only a couple of points.
We're in the rebuild,
Yes.
right? So anything can happen this year, and a playoff appearance wouldn't hurt. But There's no expectations, but it's nice to see progress. Patrick Lange's kind of found sort of maybe a little bit of a role with the team. If they get rid of him, I wouldn't be upset.
No,
but,
there's a lot of grumblings that
Sure.
he's outwarmed his welcome, which
Yep.
is too bad because I like the guy,
Yeah.
but
in the class, if you can believe it, in the class of Austin Matthews.
right. If
1-2.
if you're not gonna put up like and he hasn't, it sounds like he hasn't made any huge buddies on the team.
Well,
like, I don't know
it's
what is going on, but
it kind of respectfully explains his career.
yeah,
And I'm not talking about his mental wellness or illness or whatever, but listen, there's brother code in the NHL, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, he's had a lot of opportunity to correct that, and I just don't think that this league might be for him.
right.
Anyways.
Fair enough.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patty's Day, everyone, and
Yeah.
appreciate you tuning in on this beautiful day. And like Les always says, folks, it's okay to not be okay. Just start the conversation.
Absolutely. Shanker, thanks for coming in, eh?
Hey, no problem.
Yeah.
Appreciate
nice,
you,
nice
buddy.
shirt.
Yeah, we'll definitely hook up on Sunday afternoon up in the Armchair Chirpers Lounge at
I know,
the Almond.
I know my son's looking. He wants a sweep. He wants to throw the broom back on the ice.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
He
Awesome.
brought it up today. So
All right.
Awesome. Folks, thanks for looking at our Armchair Chirpers account on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, everything. We don't do as much on the other ones. It's basically Instagram and Facebook. But thank you so much for helping us with all the metrics. So thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.
Ciao.
Peace.